In here. All right, here you go.
Hello, can you hear us?
Yes,
Eddie? Ed?
Hello,
Okay, can you hear us?
I can barely hear you.
Talk louder.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I can.
Yep, I can.
So Sarah, you're okay?
Yep.
Okay. Ed,
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. So we have, bring this to order at whatever it is.
9:31 a.m.
Okay. Is there any, additions to the agenda?
Are we gonna go in camera?
That's what the message was I got, yep.
Yeah, okay, good.
Any other additions?
Let's see, it's a front camera.
I have none.
We need to way back.
Yeah, we have to have the
H-
remote camera.
HR, I suppose.
Okay. Human services. Section H and H, I think.
Yes.
Okay, so all in favor
Yes,
of the agenda?
Yeah.
So we'll just quickly go over did you read the previous minutes?
yes, I found them fine.
Yeah,
Okay,
good.
I always got something in there, so tough bananas.
Okay.
Motion 24,538.
24, 5, 38, Kate.
Thurston, it is Thurston.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
30 at the end?
Yes,
Sorry.
spelling error.
Well, that doesn't matter, but I guess.
Oh,
Okay, so all in favor to pass the. Okay, thank you.
amended minutes.
Yeah, that's amended, yeah.
No public hearing today and delegations. So we have Sergeant Cam Russell from the RCMP detachment here. We have Sarah Kroon with APIS from Red Deer on Zoom. And the White Sands Hall Society.
Here.
Yeah, they'll be here after, so.
Yeah.
We'll do it
Okay,
first.
so what we'd want to do then is and with Sarah, Stephanie Paints is here as well in person. So Sergeant Russell, if you could give us your report.
For sure, everybody have a look at the stats and stuff that I sent out a month or so ago, hopefully.
Yep.
Yeah, on a downward trend for sure, continually, which is a good thing. We've definitely been putting pressure on the habitual offenders to make sure that they're put in their place and monitored a lot more than perhaps they used to be. We certainly haven't heard much from White Sands in the last long time, actually, which is a good thing. I think, if there was something going on, I'm sure we would hear from you, but we haven't, so that's a good thing. In the surrounding area as well, very little activity in the, staff department, knock on wood. So hopefully that stays the way it is. It only takes one or two to, to start ruining that trend, but hopefully we can maintain that straight and narrow. We're looking forward to summer. Not sure what summer's gonna bring for us. We're struggling a little bit with some resources, but rest assured I've got that handled. I will make sure we're providing the service we're supposed to. Whether that be calling in overtime resources or secondments from another detachment, whichever, but we'll definitely be there if you need us. With regards to the boat, I've been very uneasy about even saying that we could launch our boat this year because of the water level. I don't know if that was really, it definitely affects White Sands in a sense, and if there's a search and rescue operation needed. There was actually just 2 weekends ago, 25-year-old with 3 young kids on a floaty of some sort that got stranded out there that we didn't have the boat here, it wasn't here anyways, but when the fire department came back from it, they told me directly that, yeah, you wouldn't be able to go where they were in the boat, you would have been stranded yourself, stuck on a sandbar or something like that, so that definitely affects our response to the lake specifically, so just something to keep in mind.
So them Sea-Doos that were purchased, I don't know, they weren't deployed or,
The Sea-Doos that were purchased by the fire department,
yeah,
I'll have to refer you to the fire department.
Yeah,
There's some
Okay.
politics involved there, and
okay,
shan't say anymore.
okay. Goodness. Anyway, they currently part-time marine helped them.
Yes, I believe Daniel, he had his own personal watercraft with a Sea-Doo, and he was able to go out and rescue them basically, so it was lucky in that regard, and I'm sure there's other for their Sea-Doo if need be, you know, depending on the circumstances, but that's just one example, and that's really early in the year, so you know, hopefully we don't see a trend of that, that's for sure.
Yeah,
But it was another case of, you know, there was no life jackets with the kids, and they were down, as young as 6 years old. So I'm not sure who the parent was that was in charge, but yeah, that's easily preventable.
so in situations like that, you can request additional resources, can you not?
Yeah, unfortunately, it takes time, and I mean, the example of that was back in late August and September last year. Before I had taken my post here, but I've heard a lot about it, and you know, to deploy the search and rescue major unit that came to help out at Red Deer takes time, you know, minimum of 2 hours for them to get there, but by the time they get to the station and get their gear and deploy,
Yeah.
it takes time, so definitely something to keep in mind. And with the wind being a factor, sometimes you can't put a helicopter up in the air because they can't fly. It's too windy and that sort of thing, or they're just sitting on it. Busy on something.
there was a little bit of a concern, a couple things. There was a fellow going around trying to sell security systems
Mm-hmm.
in an old beige van or something.
Right.
And he parked away from the place he was gonna come and talk to, and people thought that he was scoping out the place, but nothing's happened so far.
No, yeah, and we did check him out, and I think he had some mental health issues, is what that was more or less. It wasn't anything about theft. And that's been quite a while since we heard anything about that guy.
Yeah,
He wasn't from the area, he was someone who found his way over into the White Sands, Ocean Sands area.
okay,
I don't think we've heard from him for at least a month.
okay, that's good.
And nothing derived of. That started to happen.
Okay,
Yeah.
and the other item that's been, I don't know a hell of a lot about it, but there's been someone following maintenance staff on a constant basis. And what,
Like your White Sands maintenance staff?
yeah,
Oh, really? I haven't heard anything about that. Tell me more.
So. Well, there's situations where some people are they're monitoring. The staff
Okay,
and they're following and watching everything they do, which is fine if you're gonna report something to me. But at what point does it go beyond?
and what capacity are they monitoring your employees?
They're driving around, following them,
But,
stopping,
Are they being
Yeah.
asked to?
no.
No, okay, so what is their interest in? To make sure they're doing their job?
I can only assume,
Okay, that's very interesting. That's borderline harassment, I'm not sure.
correct.
Why are they following them around?
It's a different political time.
Okay,
So I just wanted I think it's a good idea to understand how far does something need to go before it becomes harassment? And can affect a municipality.
well, I mean, at the end of the day, it has to be repetition, but it also has to be the employees that you're speaking of have to fear for safety a little bit as well. Which doesn't take much.
Yeah.
And from what you're telling me, it's that's very odd behavior. I imagine it's isolated to one or two people or.
Correct.
Yeah. Has anybody spoken to them directly about it?
I have at one point,
And how-
and I thought I had it rectified, but it doesn't look like it, so everything's being documented.
Okay, I would suggest perhaps another conversation with them and let them know that the RCMP have been
Okay,
consulted anyways. We won't necessarily make a file right now, but if the behavior continues, I would suggest we go into an investigation.
okay, cause I just wanna make sure all of our liabilities and risks get covered.
Well, and I worry about, like we have at the end of the month, I don't know, is it a girl that's coming?
Yes,
So. I mean, there shouldn't be any difference between women and men, but there is, you know. If it's a young student and someone's following them around, see what they're doing, that would scare them.
I just wanna make sure the safety of our staff
Yeah.
is paramount.
100%. My daughter works for the Village Roach and Sands. She's a summer student there, so if I found out somebody was following her around, I'd be having a conversation with that person real quick.
Okay.
There's no need for that. Whatever their intentions are.
Yeah, if you have something to report it to
That's
the
great.
CAO, and then I can investigate on top of management.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, okay, thank you.
So these figures, it's kind of. Odd in these times for them to be going down, so obviously it's your pressure.
Maybe, let's hope, eh?
And the old 601 place is gone,
That's a major factor, definitely. We've, and I'm not taking credit for it because I've been here for not quite a year yet, but I know tactics like this work. But over the past couple of years, lots of pressure has been put on people, and there have been some key players put in jail. And as soon as they get out, we're right on their butt again to make sure they're following the rules, and if they're not, we hook them up and put them back in jail the best we can. We're not the ones that decide if they go to jail or not, that's the justice or the judge, but you know, we know how to gather enough evidence to be able to support that. Not always, sometimes it doesn't work, but we do our very best to make sure we.
Yeah, I know, you guys gotta be frustrated with that justice system, it's just. Crazy, but.
Yeah, it is frustrating, it's no doubt, but it's hard to keep you guys motivated too, because very often charges are laid and the judge just decides, not the judge, sorry, the crown prosecutor, he doesn't even get to the judge. And the crown prosecutor decides, well, we're not gonna go into this because there's a variety of reasons that they don't have enough time as well. So if it's a lower level, you know, theft or damage to property, they're just simply gonna dismiss it because they won't have time. So what does that teach the offender? Nothing. Teaches them they can just get away with all this petty stuff that they're doing. Anyways, then there's the no likelihood of conviction, meaning it's not in the best interest of the public, they consider it. Well, it depends on what public you talk to about it, whether it's not in your interest or not. But they are overworked, they don't have enough resources to do all the work that's in front of them. So I'm not trying to make excuses for them, but at the end of the day, when that stuff happens, that's not the police, it's the system, it's the government of Alberta that doesn't have enough resources in place to see it through court. And that's where it gets frustrating, because it takes a lot of time to lay a charge and do up the package to present to court to be able to prosecute it, and it's simply just withdrawn, it's run out. It's frustrating for sure.
Is there any education that we can help with our residents to be able to just provide for what steps they could do on just protect yourself with your own security, whatever?
Yeah, there is. There's a program that the county, the CPOs actually run. So, you know, even next council meeting, I could bring Clint with me. And he does a little presentation on it. I don't know, CEPTED it's called, and it's how to protect your property, the best practices to do to protect your property. Right down to the height of the trees and the shrubs that you have in your yard, so that people can be seen through the yard and there's not a lot of hiding places. Lighting, seeing, not being able to see things from the road, like if you've got a fuel tank or something like that in your yard, make sure it's behind the garage so nobody can just see it from the road. So as people are driving by, it's not an easy target for you, basically. Cameras, all that kind of stuff. But if you'd like, it's a pretty worthwhile presentation he's got. It's not very long, but it definitely has some good things to speak to.
I wonder if Clint did come out on the
AGM.
AGM, but it's a Saturday.
I think that works the odd Saturday.
I'll maybe give him a ring.
Yeah. What day?
July 6th.
July 6th is a Saturday.
July 6th, do we have a time?
It was 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock. But yeah, that would be the perfect thing to add to your AGM for a session.
And if Clint's not able to, I know Aislinn is, she's educated on as well, she probably presents. No
Could we leave that for you to talk to them and get them to contact us?
problem. Should I get in contact you? Aaron?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the Aaron, this is the Melissa.
Oh, my.
Both of
sorry.
us. Either or.
Well, listen, I can't remember your name.
Whatever you call me, I've been called worse.
Yeah, sure.
I'll take anything, I'm good.
Okay,
But yeah, if you could
Yeah.
touch base with them and get them to talk to us, and we could
Yeah.
get this arranged. I think that would be great for an AGM.
for sure.
Council in agreement with that?
Are you guys okay with that?
I think it's a good idea.
Okay, well. Thanks for your help, and one more last question, and it can be a short answer. What about the provincial government and their pressure for their own service?
Well, short, that's impossible.
Lauren, may I ask Sergeant Russell a question?
You bet.
Sergeant Russell, there's one concern that I had for the village was on our main road. If we could keep continued surveillance on that, and I know with Bar W being in the picture now, and they closed that gate off to the west there over by Roche and Sands, we're probably going to get some frustrated people, and they're going to probably wind up taking it out on our speed limit on our main road. I'd really like to see your staff start handing out some hefty fines there if they're going to be breaking the speed limit on our road. If that's
Yeah.
at all possible.
Yeah, that's definitely something that we can put forward. That road is part of the village, or is it the county?
It's county
Yeah,
village.
Okay, so it's
So we
county,
have control over it.
okay,
The MGA says the road on the south of a municipality and on the west of a municipality is under their control.
okay,
And so the counties is on the east and east,
okay,
but there is no roads there.
gotcha, yeah, right. Okay, yeah, no, that's something that we can look at for sure, and I was actually asking before we went live about what the effect on the new resort is gonna be with White Sands, and I'm assuming there's gonna be lots of extra traffic for sure, so. If you notice anything specific, please give us a call, and or me a call for that matter, and then we can start to address it and pinpoint it. I imagine it's gonna be the high traffic times on Friday evenings and Sunday afternoons and that stuff when people are coming and going, and yeah, we can definitely put some resources and efforts into that for sure.
Thank you.
Thanks for bringing that up, Ed. And the provincial force, just short.
No short answer on that.
On, they haven't said much more about an actual police service, but what I do know is that they're putting a pile of money into the sheriff's program right now. They're hiring more sheriffs and they're training them, reopening up units that used to exist within the sheriff group to augment, warrants, people that are on warrants and stuff like that. They're putting units together to focus on that exactly so that it frees it up from us to do. But in doing so, I think it's more to, put a whole bunch more boots on the road, and if the time ever did come, or if she was able to gain enough support, that they would be able to roll over into a police service, perhaps. But the whole actual provincial police service, mum's the word, we haven't heard very much about it at all, so.
Yeah, it's been dead.
It has, so, I mean, I hear from all the counties and the councils and the mayors and reeves and everything, and nobody's unhappy with the RCMP that I've talked to. And it's gonna be a tough sell if she wants to do it, but hey, I mean, ultimately it's in the hands of the politicians up there. And I mean, if there's anything we can do to make our reputation better, I think we work hard to do our best on that, but any suggestions would be good too.
Yeah.
I think Sergeant Russell, from my standpoint, I think that the job that you guys do with the resources you're given is fantastic. And I really want to thank you for your service and thank you for what you do for us.
I appreciate that. I'll share a little bit of information with you with regards to our staffing and recruiting. The staffing and recruiting for not just the RCMP, but all police services across Canada has suffered over the past few years. A lot to do with poor media. It came out a few years ago when there was an issue down in the States which resonated up here. And a lot of glamour that used to come with the job as a police officer was lost, and rightfully so. But we were painted with a pretty bad picture that doesn't include the way Canadian police do things. So it is what it is. But to gather more support and people that are interested in policing, it's starting to come back, but it's been definitely a huge downturn. So our recruiting has shown, with the attrition rate, we're losing bodies faster than we can replace them. And again, it's not just the RCMP, it's every police service across Canada. But so with the Alberta Sheriffs trying to bolster their numbers is also taking away, potential cadets for us and that sort of thing. So it's a pretty tough thing right now. And in doing so, they're really taking away the RCMP is taking away their focus on staffing traffic units. So we have a three-person traffic section in Stettler that works out of Black Falls and is also tied with Rocky Mountain House. They're down to 2 people right now for the 9 positions that are across Stettler and Black Falls and Rocky Mountain House. So only 2 guys that are trying to work that whole section, and it's just not working. And they're not looking at replacing the bodies because we need bodies on the front line, like in general duty, like in a detachment. So unfortunately, what's going to happen is the sheriffs are going to start looking better in that regard because they're the ones out doing traffic enforcement, but the RCMP aren't because the RCMP simply don't have the bodies to do it. So it's a catch-22. But I've also heard negative things about the sheriffs because they're pretty relentless when they're on. We'd rather them not maybe come into our community because there'd be a lot of upset people. I might send them to White Sands on the main road. Okay, but yeah, that's my spiel on that. I mean, it's really on a whole bunch of unknown right now, but we haven't heard nothing, and I don't think you've heard anything either. So we'll just keep plugging along and hope that the right decisions are made.
Yeah. Okay, well, thanks very much for coming around and listening and giving us information because in the past we used to have more, but then it kind of slacked off, and it was because of staffing too.
Sure.
Really.
Yeah.
And we appreciate everything that you guys are doing, like Bob said, and it's just hands down.
Oh, I appreciate that very much. And please, again, I just want to reiterate that my phone's on. Call me if you have an issue. Don't let it build up to 5 or 6 complaints. Let's knock it on the head right when it happens so that it doesn't become a bigger issue, especially this one with the your employees being harassed. Definitely, if anything more comes to that.
Okay, we'll just, we've got our documentation, we'll continue that, so we've got something for you.
Perfect. Okay. Well,
Good, thanks.
very good. Have a good day. Enjoy meeting folks.
Okay.
Thank you. Sarah, you're still there?
Yep, sure am.
Okay, sorry. You're up next, and Stephanie, did you want to move over here? Yeah, that works. Okay, take her away, Sarah.
Okay, what, sorry, what am I taking it away with?
Okay.
Or Melissa.
Sarah,
Yep.
Stephanie had provided some questions that she wanted the engineers to answer, and you have provided it in an email, and I have it in the package here. Do you want to just walk through those questions that?
Sure.
Wonderful.
Okay, so in the email, you talked about ponds 3 and 4, as we've labeled them, which is, I believe 4 is the pond.
Third Street.
Yeah, is the one at the end of 3rd Street. And pond 4 is the one near the fire road. Or did I just mix that up? Sorry, 3 is near the fire road. So pond 4 is within the road allowance and lots 1 and 47. It looks like your property, I think, is within kind of 3 lots there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So your question, I guess, was the proposed solution for both ponds would be to reconstruct pond 3 completely within the lot boundaries, along with a controlled outlet. A storm pipe should be constructed from pond 4 to drain this area to the reconstructed pond 3. Regrading of this area to eliminate any trapped loads. If desired, material from the storm pond could be used to partially infill pond 4 and connect 3rd Street to Buffalo Road. That is only if there is any desire for the village to connect them. I don't think there is a desire to connect 3rd Street to Buffalo Road at this time, but our stormwater management report was a very big overview, quite just a feasibility study. So it's a very broad assessment. So your questions were, if the village chooses not to put a road in, what would the design for pond 4 be? So as far as we're aware, like I said, the village does not have a desire to extend 3rd Street. However, we did present this as an option. Our functional planning envisioned the size of pond 4 being controlled via an outlet to pond 3. So unless there's any specific want for it, we would not recommend draining pond 4. It would be installing an outlet to help control its level in order to reduce the impact to the 2 houses during flooding events. Details of any grading works that would take place would be determined during detailed design. So second question, if pond 4 is regraded, the storm pipe constructed, and possible road put in, will a wetland classification need to be done? So our answer is any work completed within a potential wetland would require an assessment of some sort. So the level and detail of the assessment will depend on the work proposed. I believe a desktop assessment was completed for this wetland previously. EXP had provided a memo, which I believe was shared with you 2 years ago.
Yeah, and it's attached in the report.
Yeah. So it explained that depending on the nature and the scope of the work of the proposed activity, application under the Water Act will need to be supplemented by either a wetland assessment impact form or a wetland impact assessment report. So those two kind of differ. The form, you can sometimes just do it what's called an ABRET D, which they do as a desktop. And then an ABRET A would be for the where, and that would be a field assessment. So it really depends on what the scope of the project is. Financial compensation for the wetland may be required depending on the scope of the work. Sorry?
Yeah, I understand like so far. Yeah, I understand the wetland assessment too. I think I understand why you're not able to provide any answers. So I guess we can go through this whole thing. But you can't until it gets to the detailed design stage.
Essentially,
Anyways.
yeah, all we've really looked at was an overview of the possible options. And then we need more survey and more design to do anything with any of the ponds in the report, essentially.
Can I break in here for a second?
Sure.
So yeah, I've read all this report, and I guess a lot of it's sort of aspirational, and a lot of it's sort of, if we do this, if we put a road in, if we put a pipe in, if we do this, if we do that. I guess ultimately, the real question here is, how do we prevent Stephanie's house from falling into the pond?
Mm-hmm.
And and so I don't know, maybe that's an oversimplification of it, but quite frankly, the retaining wall there is rotted out. I went and looked at it last week, or I don't know, was it last week? I don't know. And the house is real close to the pond here, and it's wearing away here and stuff. And this has been going on for, 3-4 years sort of thing. And we can't wait for Alberta Environment to do a 10-year assessment. She's got to do something to keep her house. And who's responsible if her house falls into the pond? So what do we do here? Like, let's just get to the nuts and bolts of this. Can she put a retaining wall in there? Can she put some dirt in there to shore it up or whatever and stuff like that? Like, what could she do to prevent her house from falling into the pond? And because a lot of this stuff is long term. Like we don't have $1 million to put a pipe or whatever to the lake or whatever from that pond, and we don't have $1 million to build a road through there or put a ferry in or whatever across the pond or whatever. I don't know. So what do we do to help Stephanie? That's my question right now. Forget all the rest of it, right? And I'm not blaming you. I'm not, blaming you, Sarah, or anything like that, because you're doing your job and you're giving us good answers and stuff. But the question is for everybody in the room. How do we help Stephanie out here?
Yeah, and I'm 100% on that too. It has been quite a while and it's been dragging on. Of course, when something is involved with environment and has to get done properly, or else you get in hot water, but the folks should have an answer what they can do quickly. And
I think we
it's-
write a letter to Alberta Environment and say, this is the issue, this is the problem. You got like 7 days to give us an answer. And if they don't by then, she's got to do what she's got to do to protect her house.
May I interject, guys?
Sarah's got some.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd just like to clarify. As far as I know, Alberta Environment hasn't been asked what she can do. I do know that a few years ago when we originally talked about this, we did say that she can get the retaining wall replaced. It is an Alberta Environment approval, but it wouldn't be too hard to get done. But a retaining wall would
I can get the approval through
engineer.
Alberta. I can get that through Alberta, and I have it for emergency repair up to so many feet away. We need to know, to get it engineered, is how far away does that need to be from a foundation? So once you put that outlet in or whatever you're doing, what are the slopes gonna be? So it needs to go to the detailed design stage before anything can be done. Because I don't know, I wouldn't know what a municipal water outlet, how far that needs to be away from our foundation. I have no idea. That's like a municipal question. I don't know how to answer that. And I can't get anything designed without knowing what is gonna happen to that pond.
Sarah, where would the outlet be located? It would be at the very far end.
Yeah, it would be at the other end, closer to pond 3. I don't really know, when you're talking about the foundation, are you talking about the foundation of the retaining wall?
Of our house,
Oh.
it's 8 feet away right now.
The house.
Which is partly into their other property and the previous property on the map.
Yeah, so the retaining wall, has the retaining wall moved, or it's just that it's starting to slough and fail?
It's failing, it's falling,
Yeah.
caving into the pond.
Yeah, so it's starting to fail. So correct me if I'm wrong, but the pond itself wouldn't have moved closer to the existing foundation, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Like
Sarah, more importantly, nobody's really revealed the fact that there's a water well that's adjacent to that that's being jeopardized for being used as potable water. It's just not the foundation of the house. It's the whole property itself, including a water well.
Correct.
Okay. So the foundation, or not the foundation, sorry, the retaining wall can be replaced. I talked to Alberta Environment previously that they didn't see an issue with that. We are not structural engineers. I cannot design a retaining wall.
I get
we
that, yeah, I just
yeah.
need to know from what the municipality is doing or what the village is doing in order to get that engineered. I don't know what the water levels will be, I don't know if you're gonna re-slope anything, I don't know where that outlet's gonna go. I don't know any of that.
And I could be wrong, Melissa can correct me, but I think you would have the structural engineer design it as the pond is today. And then if anything improves in terms of sloping the pond later, they should be able to put a retaining wall back in place. We can do a design, that's not an issue. Nobody's asked us to do a full detailed design. There is a pumping license for that pond. They pump it out when it gets high. Yeah.
But when it comes to the design of any outlets, they would be at the far end and you would have to, when requested by the municipality, take into consideration the adjoining properties already rebuilt retaining wall, am I correct? To reduce any impacts as we move forward.
I'm not sure I understand your question. I apologize.
Okay, so if the municipality was to eventually proceed on the drain outlet construction, say 10 years down the way, to maintain the water levels without the pumping license, then when you are instructed to move this forward and design the project for that, you would do everything in the design phase of the project prior to tendering to make sure that everything meets requirements and does not impact adjacent landowners, am I correct?
Yes, they have to meet Alberta Environment Stormwater Management Design Guidelines. There are different guidelines. If there's already a retaining wall, I mean, what we would look to do is we would find the historical elevation that that pond is at. And that's typically what Alberta Environment would want us to reset it to. The outlet would be to leave it at that height. So if it increases, it would drain out. It would stay as a wet pond. It would not dry out. The level would be set at that. We can request a lower elevation to drain it to a certain degree. That's not out of the ordinary. We can do it. We just have to have reasoning, and they have to approve it in the end.
Okay, and so that means that everything that when we go to do we are doing the least amount of any design work to not affect the adjacent landowners and just make it so it stays at the levels it's supposed to stay, based on historical data and approval by Alberta Environment. Am I hearing that correct?
Yes, I'm not sure what you mean by the least amount of design work. There would still be a significant amount of design work. It's to have the least impact.
That's what I meant, least impact. Sorry
Okay.
about
I
that.
have a question on that. So Sarah?
Yes.
If we had no retaining wall there, if it was just like the water is meeting the dirt, none of the work's been done, and the village goes ahead with the detailed design, then would the village be responsible for all sides of that?
Either way, if we're reconstructing the pond or doing work on it, I think the short answer is yes. I'm a bit confused because either way the pond existed when everything was constructed. Yeah. So it's that's not really a me question per se.
Okay.
Yeah, and I guess, Sarah, the history on that, the lot that, like Stephanie has 3 lots there, and they're all got number 12. They were combined or whatever, same municipal address. But previous to that, where the garage driveway from Buffalo Road is, the pond went all the way over to there. And the pond was actually filled in a number of years ago from across the Buffalo Road. They took the hill down and filled it in, so there was more property there, like the previous owners.
Yeah, and I can kind of see that in the old aerial photos.
Right.
But it's hard to tell. I mean, it looked fairly large, but it really depends on the year, right? There are years with less water, years with more. Yeah.
So I just want clarification on another one, because we don't need to go through this all, because I totally understand it needs to be more detailed design. So I get that not much is be able to answer, but on here it notes, and I just want to clarify this.
Yep.
A very last kind of point, the pond wetland is naturally occurring, and this has to do with your question, existing prior to development, and it appears from limited aerial imagery we currently have to not have an overland outlet. But what is an overland outlet? What do you outlet?
An overland outlet means an existing way that it would drain. So
Okay, but it does.
Pardon?
It does. It has a culvert.
No, that culvert brings it in.
I know, brings it in. I know. It doesn't let it out, but it brings it in.
So what I was looking at is in the old photos. And again, it's very hard to tell. I pulled them from a different one because it was not specific to ours. We kind of call these areas like like a pot and kettle area. There's big dips, big hills, water will sit in these low areas, and it typically doesn't have a way to get back out except to evaporate or infiltrate the ground. So an overland outlet would be, for example, further to the west, there is a pond that when it fills to a certain point, it will overtop a bit of a ridge. I wouldn't say it's a huge hill, but it will overtop a bit and go into another pond. That's what an overland outlet would be. It would be not that it fully drains, but it would say that once it gets to a certain point, it fills and it moves on somewhere else. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
And that culvert wasn't, well, there was a culvert there, and then it was replaced. But the reason the culvert was put in is because the water was collecting on that side of the road and compromising.
Yeah, and that whole new development on the other side of the road needs to go somewhere too.
Yeah, it's a big,
It all like drains, and I've walked it with Alberta Environment. It all drains into that 3rd Street pond, which unfortunately is on our property. But that's where it's going, and that's where it's ending, because there's no outlet.
Yep. Yeah, there's no outlet. So I do think, I think we had given not a recommendation, but a suggestion that we have used Lex 3 for our structural designs on certain things. They might be able to help with a retaining wall, or potentially Parkland Geotechnical might, depending, because it might be a little more geotechnical in nature. Are two that we have used.
Yeah,
I mean, that's up to the town or the village if they want us to do it, or you guys, or how it goes about, but.
Yeah, we just don't, I think the point is, and it was last meeting too, is we don't have enough info to do anything with, because 2 years from now, from the last meeting, it could be a road. And now it's like, okay, now we don't want a road, but you're gonna have to reconstruct around it as soon as you put that outlet in anyways. So what we're doing is dumping 10 grand into something that's gonna be reconstructed anyways.
Okay, I'll clarify that too. We don't necessarily have to fully reconstruct the pond to put an outlet in. It just, if you're going to put an outlet in, it makes sense to do whatever you need to do to the pond to make it more functional.
Right, and once you put that outlet in, now you have to meet storm management guidelines. Because it's already a stormwater pond. It's already flowing into there.
Yeah, there's a bit of an ambiguous area between naturally occurring water bodies and stormwater management ponds. So we can put in an outlet using a code of practice notification, which is less of a process. But we have to have somewhere that it would go, and so there would need to be some ditching done either way.
Sarah, just to clarify, so you said that there was two different things that could be completed to help move that on, and you said something about a geotechnical, is that what you said? I just need you to reiterate.
Yeah, so we have some geotechnical engineers that we work with and some structural engineers that we work with. And they would be the ones to design a retaining wall.
But you would be the one to design
The pond.
this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, if a pond design is wanted, we can do that.
Or is it the outlet that you're designing? I guess, so it depends on what the municipality is requesting, but if based on the stormwater management, we were looking at an outlet. So it's up to the municipality to decide what they wanna do. They
Yeah,
wanna restructure that.
it's up to you guys, excuse me, to decide what level of repair or rehabilitation you would like. Especially based on budget. If you want to, for now, just put in an outlet, that can be one thing done. Then if you want to put in a storm pond or modify the storm pond later, that can be another thing. It can all be done at once. It can be done in stages.
Okay. So if you were to remodify the the pond, and part of it's in private property, would we have to have anything from the landowner before we could go in?
Yeah, you just need landowner consent. You would probably want to either purchase the land as well, or you would want to maybe have an easement of some sort as well. But otherwise, you just need landowner consent.
Okay. So I guess the answer is as it sits with everything here, so there's a couple of decisions, council, if they're not proceeding with building any roadway through there and taking away that pond. Then can the landowner proceed with their development permit for fixing their retaining wall?
Yes. Do they need, okay. Yeah, I don't know about the development permit side of it, but yes, they could proceed with the retaining wall at any time. As far as I know, they just need to have an application into Alberta Environment for it, which the people doing the retaining wall design would do, or we can do.
Yeah, I've gone through that.
Yeah, and I believe I've heard that from Angela, that you guys had talked, and they, as far as I know, they don't have an issue with it.
Yeah, the problem is where that outlet is again, and how far that needs to be away, because we can go 12 feet with Alberta Environment, that's fine. But is that the actual design of a stormwater outlet is 12 feet from a foundation or a well?
Where is the idea of the storm outlet by the municipality if they were to do it?
Yes, it would be at the southeast end of the pond. Southwest, sorry.
Southwest, which would be on the other side of the roadway, am I correct?
Yeah, of the road allowance, yeah.
Yeah, of the road allowance.
Ryan's?
Yeah,
Would be in this area?
yeah, not on Stephanie's property.
Okay, that's clarity.
And so when you're talking about like getting landowners' consent for work in there, what is that about?
Just when we do an Alberta Environment approval, it will ask if you are the landowner of the area, and all we do is submit usually a letter or something that says yes. Or sorry, if we are not the landowner, it has a letter from the landowner that says yes, they consent to this work and they are aware of it.
Okay.
That would be on
We
Brian's.
purchased an easement, we submit the easement agreement. Yeah.
Yeah, so where the outlet would go would be on the opposing side of where the roadway doesn't continue. And we would have to do an easement and a bunch of investigation there and make arrangements with that property owner, am I correct?
Yes, you would talk to that property owner and say, we're looking to do this, hold on, let me pull up my figure here. Sorry, 1 second. Want to zoom into this one if I can. Oh, that's blurry. Trying to find a better image of it. Because some of it would, I think some of it is in the other road allowance, like the Buffalo road allowance.
Yeah,
Yeah,
In which
it
case
is.
the outlet can be there, because the outlet theoretically would go into the roadside ditch and be ditched to the next area. So you would want to talk to that landowner in order to discuss the revisions, for lack of a better word, to the pond. But you don't necessarily need their approval for an outlet, if that makes any sense.
Yep. So when it goes to detailed design.
Yep.
You would be following what's laid out in the stormwater management guidelines by the Alberta government, correct?
If we were redesigning the pond, yes. If we are just putting in an outlet to maintain water level, that's like, it still follows guidelines, but it's not the stormwater management pond guideline. So there's kind of two different things going on here. We can do, we can do them as two separate things. So in an emergency right now, like, we could put in an outlet.
Right, in an emergency.
And then we could proceed with the pond design as well after. There's there's two steps we can do, or we can do it all in one step.
Okay, but so emergency and outlet could just be plopped in there. But it needs to go to the design stage anyways, and then it would need to follow the stormwater management guidelines for constructing in an existing wetland.
Yeah.
So if we followed those guidelines, that wouldn't change when you design later.
No.
And that, like, in those guidelines, that's a far ways from our foundation. Like a really far ways.
I don't know off the top of my head, because I don't think the stormwater management pond specifically talks about foundations.
I
Typically,
know.
yeah, because I'm like, typically when we're designing, that would be something the building guys
It just
would.
talks about like how far away from private property. It doesn't talk about, yeah, this is where the trouble is. Okay.
Yeah, because it's kind of like, it's essentially a retrofit, right? Like yeah. It's hard for me to answer, because typically the design guidelines are based on you designing for a development, not the development already being there and the pond already being there. The building engineers or structural engineers, or even geotechnical, might know how far away a building should be, but that's kind of a bit of a moot issue at this exact moment, because your house is there, the pond is there.
Yeah.
So if Alberta Environment says you can push that retaining wall out 15 feet and build a new one, 12, whatever, whichever distance, then that, I would think that should be fine then, because your house is there either way. It would be pushing the water back with the retaining wall.
Yeah, but when it got to the actual design stage, the village would be pushing that all out and sloping it anyways.
It
Like, we're
depends.
talking a 5-year span.
It depends. If we could still apply if there's already a retaining wall. We wouldn't necessarily have to reconstruct the pond. Like I said, it's all what you guys.
If there's already a retaining wall though.
If there's already a retaining wall, and the rest of the pond is functioning, and all we need is an outlet, then all we do is an outlet.
But if you don't have that retaining wall, then it's gotta be designed.
Then we would probably slope it, yes, with the outlet. Again, this outlet can do a lot too, because I I don't have detailed survey of the pond. This is a very functional study. There's a lot that can be done. So whatever the town, whatever the village and you guys decide that you want us to do or have another engineer do, it can be done.
Yeah, but if we just say we just like this summer tore out that retaining wall, put some temporary dirt there.
Yep.
And then when the village does their design, they finish the sloping.
Yeah, you could infill a portion of it as well instead of a retaining wall. It can be a dirt side slope. Dirt, obviously not the correct term, but
We don't need to level it, we don't need to do anything, we're just dumping dirt so that the house doesn't sink into it. And then the village finishes whenever they get to their plan.
There'd probably be a little bit more geotechnical involved in that, just to make sure that you're providing some stability. But overview, yes, I would think. You still need Alberta Environment approval, but like I said, you've talked to them.
Yeah.
It would be whatever they would approve, yeah.
And then at that point, it would be determined how far that needs to be. Like how far it's on private property, how much that slope needs to be done, that would all be done during the design stage that you would do for the village.
Yeah.
If the village was to proceed that way, am I correct?
She said the outlet is emergency, can be done now. The
the
detailed
outlet can be
design
done.
still needs to be done.
The outlet can be done at any time that the village wants it to be done. We just have to put in an application for it and Alberta Environment has to approve it. But there are code of practice notifications for outlets. Which are
And when you do the design for the outlet, if we had to do it to maintain the water levels, will that change the banks around there already or not?
To install a pipe, no. We would install, when we installed the pipe or the outlet, there would be some sloping right around the outlet, but we wouldn't have to do anything else at that time.
Okay.
When do you need to do the design, I think is what we're trying to get at.
We would want to do a wetland assessment because they will require one for that. It might only need to be a WAIF, which is the one I spoke of previously, the desktop version, if it's a code of practice. It would depend if Alberta Environment feels they need a WARE, but typically a WAIF should do for that. And then we would probably want a little bit of survey. We would want a little bit of survey, that's not probably.
And when you go, and I think we talked about this before, but maybe just for Melissa's clarification. When you do the design, that would be based on current stormwater management guidelines by Alberta government.
Yes.
Okay. And then once that's done, once that design is done and maybe the work's completed, then at what point is it like I asked in this for clarification, at what point is that no longer my problem? Like, is this next 100 years, I'm gonna be replacing the retaining wall or replacing the slope or doing all that work every 20 years? Or when is that off my plate?
That kind of, I don't know if that's a me answer per se. If we do a pond design with an outlet, it should, or not even pond design, but an outlet that lets it draw down is the wrong term, lets it outlet when it gets to a certain water elevation, that should keep the pond more consistent. I don't know what the agreement is between the village and the landowners for their properties adjacent to water bodies.
There is no agreement right now.
Yeah.
There is no agreement.
So if we construct a pond and we do different side sloping, let's say construct a pond with, I don't know, 5, we'll just throw it out there, 5-to-1 side slopes. That should be good for, we typically design to a 1 in 100 year storm.
Yep.
So
But that
that,
should be good, like, I don't wanna go through this process and then 10 years from now, maybe something fails. And then that's again on the private property owner. Like, I
yeah,
don't wanna do.
if a pond is constructed, it should be fine. It should be constructed to handle all of these things. Obviously, we can't predict catastrophic weather events, but
Yeah.
typically when we construct a pond, it's for it to last.
Yeah, I get that.
So I guess, I think what Stephanie's asking is if they do all the work for their retaining wall,
Like, I don't want any part of it after that. I don't want,
they're
this is not my
saying
pond.
once they fix it, they don't want any more fixing for the next to do it again.
I don't
So
want it
they
to
want
be-
I think they're looking for assurances of the municipality that once they put in the money and they do the retaining wall, are they responsible all the time, or will the municipality take on the responsibility after that?
Well, I think the problem is understandable. It still is private property unless you
But it's,
to sell it to the municipality down the road.
sure, where our land is private property.
Yeah.
But stormwater management is not private property, and that's in the MGA. That is not my,
So Sarah, can you answer about this pond? Is it stormwater management or is it an existing pond? That I think is the question. that
Yeah,
has
it
to
is
be
both.
answered.
It is both.
yeah, it's full.
So,
It's an existing wetland that the
Okay.
village is using for stormwater storage and drainage, and now you're gonna control it. Once you put that outlet in, you're controlling it already by pumping.
because we have the pumping license,
Yeah.
correct? And this outlet was to take away from the pumping license for in
Right.
10 years.
Yeah.
So that it would not have to have that pumping license, it
Yeah.
would be a natural.
Yeah.
Right, and then pond 3 still will compromise property over there for sure. With the elevation, so 3 would have to go into the lake as well.
That's what the whole stormwater management.
So this is why I asked the question, Sarah, of like, where would the slope start? If the village does it, my preference is that it starts on village property, because I don't wanna keep dealing with this pond for another 100 years. The village is using it, they're controlling it, and I don't think that I should be responsible for maintaining it 20 years from now.
So typically, a storm pond would fall under municipality.
Yes.
It's a bit different. Like I said, there are wetlands kind of all over the place that are still on people's property. Even the fact of pumping it or not pumping it, even if they didn't pump it, it's still part of the whole development. So
Yeah,
even if it's on your property, I think if a pond is adjusted or a pond is maintained, it shouldn't impact your property once it's been redesigned. Obviously, if there's a retaining wall and we do the rest of the pond, there's still going to be deterioration of a retaining wall over time. It's not going to last 100 years no matter what. But whether or not it's because of a pond overflowing or overcapacity, that's different. If you do a retaining wall and we design the pond with the retaining wall still there, the village theoretically would be responsible for maintenance of the pond. But if your retaining wall were to need replacing down the road, that would be between you and the village.
so if we put that retaining wall right up to, or took our land, filled that portion of the swamp or the pond. And put it right up to the road allowance, right up to village property, then are we hands off at that point? Cause that is now on village property.
But that's kind of a village question, because unless they agree to take it over because you built something on village property doesn't necessarily mean that it's theirs.
That's what I guess I need to know, Melissa, is when are we hands off this swamp? Like according to the MAA and stormwater management, we should already be hands-on.
So Sarah, because part of that pond is in their private property, what she's asking is if they filled it in and changed the dynamics of the pond. Then, and put their retaining wall and made our pond smaller and did whatever they had to do, then it now falls on the municipality. That would be correct, right?
I understand her question, but it's not really a question for me, because no matter what, the municipality is kind of responsible for the pond, whether it's on her property or not.
I just want to clarify that.
Difference
Kind
is
of, or is-
The retaining wall. The difference is the retaining wall. So,
Okay,
yeah, I'm sorry, it's not really a Alberta environment question. It's more of an issue with the MGA and the municipality.
yeah, agree.
Okay. So council, do you have any other questions? Do you?
No, but I think it still should be, some direction should be given, so no one's,
Yeah, I really want to get this done. My retaining wall is falling in, so summer is the time to do it. The pond is so much lower in the last 10 days than it was, so if work's gonna be done, tis the time, but.
So the
So what do you want to do?
municipality,
Stephanie, what do you want to do right now? Do you want to just put dirt in there and just sort of shore it up right now and slope it down? Is that what you're looking to do?
Like, it really doesn't matter to me what we do. I really don't. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what we do, as long as we're protecting our property. If it's like 2 years, you're gonna be sloping it anyways, then yeah, I would dump dirt in there as like a temporary measure.
Well, I'm not sure that, I don't know whether, it's hard to predict 2 years from now, future councils and things, but I'm not thinking that we're probably gonna go, start spending millions of dollars to be redesigning things and putting a whole bunch of outlets and stuff, because right now there's like a pumping thing there and stuff.
Yeah,
So-
I think you have the pumping license for 10 years. So
Yeah.
that's how long you can keep going the way you're going, but I don't feel like Alberta Environment's gonna let you go past that. Cause they're the ones who said you need the stormwater plan in place.
Okay,
So they've extended it because you put the plan there, but if you're showing no effort of working on it, I
okay,
don't think that's renewed.
fair enough.
talking of millions of dollars too, for the project, and that's why the storm management plan was just an overview.
Yeah, it's just a stopgap for 10 years. That's all it is. Alberta Environment's now giving you 10 years to rectify the problem.
No, we've had a pumping license for a long time.
Yeah, but
on 4 places.
if you look back at when Dean was here, that's when you were told this needs to be put in place. We're not renewing pumping license until there's a stormwater management plan in place. That got done, and then you got approved for 10 more years of that pumping license.
the project will have to move ahead within the 10 years. Something has to be done with.
And we don't know what portion either, and like Bob said, change of council, change of. It's a big deal.
Yeah,
There's lots of
absolutely.
areas that do need the same thing,
Mm-hmm,
like down at the hall and then.
yeah, absolutely.
On Pheasant Terrace, it's huge for
Mm-hmm,
our kind of budget.
yep. There's also grants up there. And there's preparations for climate change grants that are out there to deal with this kind of stuff, exactly that, with flooding for municipalities. I just know we need to do something with that wall. It's falling in on 2 sides of it, and it needs to get done. So whether that's me doing a temporary. But we can't hire somebody to engineer it without knowing the answers of the detailed design.
The thoughts from the engineering company were to put a drain in there into. Pond 3.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the big overview. If we're looking at something interim right now to get it through, we could do the environmental assessment on the wetland for the ABRET D and the WAIF, and then you could propose talking to the geotech to make sure it's stable, sloping the bank out on that backside. And put in an application to do that. I don't think that would be a waste in future with what your future plans might be for the pond.
Yeah, that wetland assessment would have to be done either way, is what you're saying?
I don't think it would be a waste.
Yeah.
It would just be a matter of how far out the village wants that to go. Like how far the slope goes out and how far Alberta Environment would permit it.
Mm-hmm.
We can do whatever. We just need direction as to what the village and you agree upon and how the direction forward you guys would all like to go.
So if you propose a plan, then council could approve it.
I just can't propose a
Yeah.
plan without knowing the actual design, but if we're talking about a temporary plan. Then the plan would be wetland assessment, the village has to get done either way. We would pay for the loss of the wetland to fill that property. It would be sloped out from there and then it would be hands off, like we're not touching it again. Because now it's at our property line and it's already the village's responsibility. And we're willing to pay for that wetland loss because that's how we would prefer to get as far away from our foundation as possible. But this is a wetland and a stormwater pond, and you're gonna have to follow the guidelines at some point, and that guideline's you can read through it. But that guideline is like, this is your problem. This is a village problem. So I wanna get it just out of my property.
I guess my
Well,
question is, like, it's one thing, like, are you talking from like a liability standpoint if it floods your property and stuff? Is that what you're talking about, Stephanie, or is it?
I'm talking about never putting the money in to touch it again. This is like a one-time shot. It's your stormwater pond in a wetland. And that's not up to a private property owner to maintain.
I don't know,
Sounds like the easiest thing is to get a rough concept plan of what you wanna do. And make sure it's not gonna be interfered with. When drainage is taken care of on this. And then just to bring it back and go from there, but it doesn't, it doesn't have to be a formal thing, just what you guys.
That's what I wanna do. I wanna get it to the property line and hands off. We don't need to like wait another month to present that. That's what I wanna do.
And there's not much.
There's hardly any loss. It's barely any loss.
There isn't any, if it's sloped down, so it's just past the property line or whatever. Then you don't have much property on that pond anyway, really, when you look.
It's so minimal.
Minimal.
It's so minimal, but it needs
Very
to
so-
get away from our foundation and.
And then also that piece on the road allowance that's in the ditch there,
Mhm.
you know,
Okay,
that should be looked at.
so you wanna fill in all the way to the trees there?
I wanna fill it to the property line.
Yeah, the property line all the way to the front, am I correct?
Yeah,
And
straight across.
straight across, all the way from the one property line to the other, so you wanna fill in this whole area here.
And
That's
Well,
the area.
yeah, but there's no pond there, Melissa, it's just here.
I have this like old kind of scratchy. drawing.
So Sarah, do you have the map there? And you see
I'm
where the
just-
property
I'm
lines
just
are?
pulling it up. 1 second. I'm just trying to pull it up here.
So by our measurements, it's 37 feet from the property line to where the retaining wall is now. and then 64 feet across. Again, to the property line.
Where it is here, 7 feet is all.
No, she wants to take everything and fill it right in.
So initially, we wanted to get it away from our foundation
Right,
and then curve it around. But I do not want to deal with this again, so I just want it off my property.
so what's the distance from, this is the existing,
Yeah,
from
you know,
here?
this is the existing.
No, but I mean the pond.
So Sarah, what can you
One
see there?
Yeah, I'm just bringing it up for you guys. 1 second.
So
I understand what you're saying. You just want to fill it in.
I just want to get it off my, I
Yeah,
don't want it. on my
push the
property.
water off of her property.
So
Is there
it's
a way
22
for me to share my, there it is, share. Host, could you allow me to share, please?
Yes, I just gotta figure out, hold on.
Make co-host.
Yeah, we'll make you co-host.
Okay.
Now you should be able to share, right?
Yeah. Share. I want to share this page. Can you see this page now?
Not quite
Not
yet.
yet.
Oh, hold on. There.
There you go.
Okay.
That's starting.
There.
Okay.
There, great.
Hold on. I just gotta move. How do I move this the other way? Move you over there. Okay. So this is the pond. For some reason, there's no line work shown, but essentially the right of way, I think.
Yeah, it curves around. so,
Yeah.
It doesn't go straight, it curves around.
Slightly, okay. So give or take, this would be the area, because here's your wall.
Yeah, it actually like the line, the road allowance actually curves more towards into our property than away from it.
Yeah.
Okay.
There.
Sorry, I do have a PDF here with the line work.
Our fence line is like where the property line is.
I do have one with line work, I just don't know why it didn't show up on this one. Oh yeah, right there, okay.
See how it curves up more into the
Yeah.
property there?
Curve this way. There we go.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it would be, we'd have to have it delineated, but it would essentially be this area, because I think this pools out a bit, correct?
Yes.
yeah, it overflows into that ditch going up Buffalo Road, but rarely does it get to the level of doing that.
So it
So
would be
that's,
this area.
Yeah,
yeah. And
Which
it
is-
goes in behind those trees too, but
Back here, that's kind of what I thought. So,
yes.
I mean, you're looking at like, I don't know, 300
we're
square
not
meters.
filling the ditch side, because that's on your property.
Yeah, it'd
No,
be-
we're just trying to like
Oh,
keep your property lines out to
Okay.
where it's.
yeah,
like,
sorry, I
it's
just don't
flat.
have the legal line work on here for some reason. Unless it's in here.
And I think it goes, you can extend that half loop probably just about. Don't keep going out towards the roadway there, towards her
Oh.
driveway, yeah,
This way,
towards the driveway. No,
this guy,
that point,
this
yes,
way. Sorry, this
yes,
yeah, getting weird looking. Obviously, this will be better delineated. This is just
that's
a really
what's-
rough idea of how much wetland would be lost. So like 350 square meters.
350 square meters, okay.
Ish,
Yeah,
ish.
but
That's
that's
not like an
what-
actual number. That's just an
No.
approximate.
But it wouldn't be lost up into that ditch portion that you drew, that's staying wetland.
Right, the other side is all gonna stay on the other side, that'll still be our wetland.
Yeah.
Because it's in our right of way, what you're
Everything.
requesting.
Not
is all
everything.
that will stay ours, but then now this is within her property line, she wants to. Fill that all in.
It would just be filled to, here's exactly where the retaining wall would go.
Right.
So we would lose all of this. You would not lose any of this. This is your property, here. There's already a retaining wall sitting up along a chain link fence there. You're not losing that at all.
Okay, got
You're
it.
losing that little rectangle.
Yeah, that road allowance is,
It's really not hard.
100 foot wide.
The road allowance is already pegged out there, like it's been in that pond for 2 years.
Yeah, the road allowance is, yeah, I already know, that's.
So
all.
Sarah, if you took that like, you know where you're going up into the trees there?
Yep.
That's still gonna stay wetland, it's just gonna be a rectangle down from there, so keep going down. Keep going down,
Right there,
And
yeah, and then cut it off, yeah, bring that one into the tree line,
like that,
that's. A wetland loss.
okay, 125-ish.
Square meters?
Yep. I mean, like I said, I don't have the property line drawn in, because for some reason
That's
it's
fine.
not showing up. It is in this drawing, I don't know why it's not showing up, but
Okay.
it's weird.
so that she wants to fill right in. And we can give her permission for that. But she'd still have to go through the process with Alberta Environment.
We still
Am I
need the
correct?
wetland assessment that you will need anyways.
A wetland
future.
assessment with a yes, infill wetland application essentially, yes.
So the desktop assessment that you completed isn't enough?
They just did a rough assessment, they didn't submit to ABRET yet. Which is where you
So-
get the classification for the wetland.
Okay, so for the
So we had-
landowner,
So there is a price for that we provided you previously for your reference. Of how much that would cost for an assessment.
yeah, you did the desktop assessment and then we didn't do an on-site assessment, so that was in total would have been the 5,900 back in 2022, am I correct?
In here, just a sec. Let me just open.
I've got the January 21st, 2022, or was there a different one that I should have put in the
April
package?
17th.
So we did a revision in 2023. Actually, we did
Okay.
two revisions in 2023. Sorry, I'm just opening it. That was not the thing. Sorry, I just got to scroll through. So we had about 17,000 for provisional survey and environmental.
Okay,
Depending if they need to do desktop, like I said, for ABRET, or if Alberta Environment requires it to be on-site, would be what the difference is. So I think they'd want to, our environmental engineer would follow up with Alberta Environment first to find out if they would accept just a desktop
okay.
based on the area. Yeah.
So I guess my question to you then is, if this is the proposal by the property owner.
Mhm.
Is it the municipality to cover this 17,000 cost?
That's a bit of an awkward question for me to answer.
But they need it later anyways, in the future.
Yeah, if we're gonna do anything with the pond later, we will need an
Yes. Correct. But that would be in the future. I'm just talking, how do we deal with this situation now?
the pond is technically your stormwater facility.
But if we give them approval to proceed with this. Then is this to do the work on the property owner, or is it on the municipality? Because we gave the approval.
That's a loaded question for her.
Yeah, that's a really hard question for me to answer.
She just said it's your stormwater pond, so that's very indicative.
And I can understand we're giving you approval to fill in on your property. that, I think that's a council decision. It's for the construction for you to do all that.
Yeah, but what Sarah's saying is, like, it is your storm water pond.
It,
Really, the whole cost should be the village. I'm saying, as a homeowner, I would really like to get this done. I don't wanna wait 10 years. My retaining wall is gonna fail. I want to get this off my property. If you wanted to maintain the retaining wall for the next 100 years, the swamp can stay on my property. I don't care, but I'm not gonna keep paying for this when it's not my responsibility to pay for.
Okay, I think it's been passed around. And it's still kind of not as clear as mud, except for to find out where the responsibility is, hands down. And it
And
is.
the cost.
yeah, I think it would be beneficial for you to do the assessment.
So it'd be beneficial for the municipality to complete the assessment now?
I think so, so you know what it is if you want to do a culvert install later or anything. Because it is your storm pond, essentially. Like I said, there is the gray area there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we can check that out then, and also, what about, so if that is done, Sarah, do they last for ever in a developed area, or do
No.
they have to be looked at?
Alberta Environment only allows assessments to last 3 years. Depending on what's occurred in the area, they will allow just a refresher sometimes if you need to apply again. A desktop would be different than a field assessment, because if we only did a desktop right now and we want to do something major to the pond later, they may require a field assessment later if they allow only a desktop this time. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think the information has been good. I mean, it is a confusing bloody thing, and it's gonna have to be decided on to give Stephanie some direction.
Can we have it like ready for the next meeting, like what the assessment is, what the cost is, who would be responsible for what? Because right now I don't know what to vote on, right?
Yeah, we haven't
Yeah,
really clarified, really.
It has to be clarified, Bob, yeah.
Hmm.
And I know this is blowing it off at another month here, Stephanie, but I think we need full answers here. Who's responsible for what financially? Whether there's
Yeah.
grants for it, you know, whether we've got the environment approval. I mean, if we can have this done by the next meeting, that gives you time to get this fixed up this summer, right?
Yeah, it need, like, this has been almost 4 years
No, I know.
of like waiting for that wall to fall in and trying to be patient, but it's like, you've seen it. I don't think it's gonna last another winter, and if we get heavy rainfall and heavy snowfall, it's just falling in. We can't
Well,
even
you know,
drive a motor
I would like to have
in.
this decision made at the next council meeting, quite frankly, but we need to know exactly what we're voting on, right?
Yeah, we have to have the information, and the bonus of all this mess is that the pond is damn near dry. I've seen it dry.
No, it was dry last summer. Could've been nice to do it last summer.
What information, you're gonna have to be clear in what you're looking for, so Sarah and I can pull things
I think
together.
that from my point of view, you need to go back to the MGA and look at where the responsibility falls and liability falls in the MGA. You need to maybe like Sarah can confirm maybe for the third time today, but this is your stormwater pond, and it is a wetland at the same time, but it's under the village's control, and that's in the MGA. And you can also look up the stormwater management guidelines and go through that as to where the responsibility falls, because it defines it in both of them.
Would
So
it
I think
be,
council would need to understand that.
would it be reasonable like you say, in the next 5 weeks or whatever, to have the information we need, like from Melissa's standpoint, from Stephanie's standpoint, from Sarah's standpoint? Can they get together and get us all the information that we need to make a reasonable decision within 5 weeks? Is that timeline reasonable or not?
Oh, I have all of my information ready, I think.
And can we get costs and stuff? Can we get cost estimates and stuff, and who's responsible and stuff like that in the next 5 weeks?
I can work with Sarah on that, yeah, and then if I need to get legal on the other side of it to make sure we get everything covered under it, I can do that.
Yeah, like municipal affairs can definitely help with it as well. With what,
To a point, they're a gray area, we need legal
yeah,
to make sure we cover.
Yeah,
everything
I just
correct.
wanna, like, if I'm gonna pay for it, then I don't want the problem again. So I wanna make sure that this is like a one and done. I'm not gonna continue paying for it.
I think
So-
most of it is between me and Sarah.
Yeah, so if you guys get it all figured out and you get, your contractors tentatively set up for whatever, August or September or whatever, to get this fixed up. And we can make a decision in the July meeting. Is that a reasonable thing to do?
Yeah, and I'm very open to design, Sarah. The whole, I don't like, we love the pond. We actually do like it, it's great.
Yeah.
I just don't want the situation, I don't wanna be in this situation again. So the fill is to get it out of our hands.
So,
So if we get legal opinions, we get Alberta Environment and Protected Areas opinion, we get Sarah's opinion, we get, what the village's responsibility is, and we have all of this figured out in the next 5 weeks, then I think we vote on it in July.
so I do have a question. It will take a while to do an assessment. Because it needs to be done no matter what, whether or not Stephanie's paying for it or the village is paying for it, do we want to have them proceed with that while all the decisions are being made, and then it's decided who's paying for it? So the reason I'm asking is because if we wait 5 weeks, they will not be constructing in August.
I'm not willing to pay for the wetland assessment at all. If that needs to be done for the design stage by the village anyways, then I don't know why that would be my cost.
How
I
much
guess
would a
that's-
how much would a wetland assessment be?
You said
Um,
17.
For
Pardon me?
field assessment with survey, hold on, let me just check if I had 1 second.
You said in a revision from 2023, it was
Yeah.
17,000.
Yeah, that was the survey and the assessment. So yeah, that again, that is if it is a field assessment. If Alberta Environment lets them do a desktop with submission, it might be a little bit less.
But you have to do the where one at the design stage anyways. So why would you pay for the desktop if you're eventually gonna need the other one and it's a little bit more money?
Because it depends on timeline. If we're not going to need a wear in the next 3 years, and maybe we only need a waif, then that's just the difference. Because the assessment would only last 3 years, and then they will
But
want
you
either
just-
a refresher or another one.
Right, so if it went past 3 years, it'd just be a refresher instead of the whole thing again.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Depends on what we are doing.
And
Yeah.
depends on who at Alberta Environment is reviewing.
That's right.
okay,
I definitely also think Melissa should call Alberta Environment, like not just to Angela, but even above Angela. Because when we first bought the property and I called them before we even approached the village, they clearly stated it was not our issue. So that might be another good resource.
Well, and that's where Sarah can have conversations with them much easier than me trying to get a hold of them.
I got like, first phone call, I got the
So
branch
Sarah,
manager.
did you hear her question that she brought up?
I did.
Okay, so we need a resolution. And so how far are we going with this and what cost? Sarah, what are you looking for clarity here?
Yes. Yes. Do you want me to have, sorry, EXP proceed with a wetland assessment? They would ask Alberta Environment first if they are able to do this as just a desktop or if they need a field assessment for this work.
Can we use grant money for this, Melissa?
This wouldn't be under grant money, it's not part of a project.
Well, kind of.
It's your stormwater management.
Well, it's not moving it into full construction.
Yeah, but it will be.
We tried already.
We
It-
tried
We got
this.
told no.
No,
Did you look into the climate incentives, like there's a bunch of grants out now.
there are, but
Flooding.
then it depends on the municipality. We are working on other grants, but then they're not always available at this point because
Mhm.
they're overfilled and
Oh.
oversubscribed.
Yeah.
So this is another problem of tons of grants are out there. Most are oversubscribed when it comes to a lot of this stuff and we're limited on what we can and can't do. But it has to be a complete construction, go through whole phase before it would become under grants.
Which it may end up being, so if you pay for it now and then, oh, but you have to apply for it before you even start it?
It has to be within the project scope of moving ahead. Like it has to be that year. So if we do this, then we have to do this stormwater thing, which means we gotta take a look at what is on the table already.
Yeah.
And it's gotta go. So that would be a council decision on what they'd wanna do. So council, it's up to you guys now. How far are you, do we get a ESP? And then this is an additional cost and it would be coming out of reserve. I need clear discussions, council.
I think we lost.
Yeah. Ed, are you there?
No.
Can we, we've got the Hall Society here. Could we table this for a few minutes here? Let the Hall Society do their thing and then we'll.
Yeah, I have lots of time, so
There's
I'm
that.
gonna run to the washroom and you guys can let the whole society go. If you want.
Okay,
Sarah, do you wanna just be
Oh,
put on? Yeah.
Well, she probably doesn't need that, you just need to get back to her after with your decision.
Yeah, we don't really need Sarah for the next part.
Okay,
Okay.
whatever you guys would like.
if we do, maybe we can give her a ring.
Yeah,
No, yeah, are you gonna be available if we try to call you back through Zoom?
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, if you shoot me an email or whatever, text me, I can log back on.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Sarah.
All right, thank you guys.
Thanks, Sarah.
I don't know how to exit. How do I leave? Oh, there we go. Bye.
Okay. Sorry about that.
No worries. So can you guys do a motion? Did you do the motion to table it? Yeah.
No, they didn't.
Okay, you need to do a motion to table this discussion and move into the next delegation.
Okay, I motion that we table the decision on the wetland assessment till later in the meeting.
All in favor?
Yeah,
Okay, so we have the White Sands Hall Society here and we're just gonna do a discussion on the agreement and the just an overview of some of the things that they have questions about. So I guess, page are we at here?
Page 29.
Yeah. So we need to do you wanna talk about? Like this agreement here, is this the one that you put together?
So, yes, this is the one that when somebody's renting the home,
Mhm.
this is what they use. This other agreement is the agreement between the Hall Society and the village.
Okay,
So this one here, which I know what you're talking about, is based on your guys' policy. So what I did was I took what was provided by the Hall Society and I revamped the policy to match this for you guys to deal with in the package, but now it's the same.
Okay,
okay, so this one has been, because I see there's about 3 agreements in here.
This one here is what was existing, which didn't quite go in sync with what I received from the Hall Society, so later, further in, you'll do a policy revision.
Yeah, it's in our policy and bylaws.
Yeah, and it's in the policy and bylaws, I've revised it so they match.
Okay, so that one's on page 41. Like I think probably with all these agreements, the previous ones or whatever, it's really kind of confusing.
Yeah, so on page
So-
41, I revised it.
Did you folks have a chance to read this revised one?
It would match this, what they're presenting to you guys.
Okay, well, we just want to make sure it's all.
Yeah, no, I matched it completely, so this is where this matches right there. The trailers, there.
Okay. So the one, they should have a copy of this to go along.
Well, you would have it right there.
So this is exactly this?
Exactly that, everything
Okay.
is, so just follow this.
Okay. So on page, because you guys didn't get a handout, on page 41 is the agreement.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
Okay, so on the rental fees is the first part of it. Now, just on that, just going up $100 or $10. Before when we rented it, we also charged sewer and water proportionally after the 150. And I think that kind of got lost.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, and that's how it was before.
Okay.
And I know when it was put forward, I had mentioned that, but of course, maybe it wasn't in writing. So I think. And it was difficult to do it because certain groups, like if you just had a meeting, they didn't use too much.
I would think that the best way to do that would be if we're looking to recoup more funds from a sewage and water perspective, to do a flat,
Yeah,
a flat increase. These rates haven't increased for quite some time.
yeah,
And what we do is, we, the Hall Society, take the money for the rentals and we put it aside and do not spend it. And it goes, that money is village's money.
right.
So we can do, like, we can increase the fees a bit to cover more from a water and sewage perspective. I know that we haven't given you money out of that fund to pay for water and sewage now. We can make arrangements out, like, we're really open to doing
I think it,
whatever
Tamara, it should
works.
be as simple as possible.
Yeah,
That's,
And you don't need to fool around with different prices for water and sewer, but it is a big thing.
can we get an estimate of, and maybe, like, we'll do it in a working meeting, but would it be possible to follow up with an estimate of water and sewage for the year, and then we can do of that, those bathrooms, the kitchen or whatever, and then we can do a prorate back to what we estimate to rent in a year?
Actually, we have that, do we not?
Yeah, I could do like last year's if
We
we're.
did a kind
Yeah,
of percentage base of different things,
Oh, from budgets.
budget, so we
Okay.
can forward that.
Yeah, perfect, send that over and we'll
Yeah.
put forward a revised amendment to the fees, or we could. The dollars that we hold in trust for the village, those can come to you more often, and you can put those against water and sewage bills.
Or even at the end of the year, in December, you say, okay,
Yeah.
well, we had this much extra water and sewer, then we write a check for that amount.
What I'm thinking is personally, and I don't know whether the council would agree, but I would just have the base rate for the hall the same, just increased from 160.
Right, and then we'll use the
Yeah.
spend to develop what that increase should be.
Right.
I would expect over the amount of rentals we get in a year, that it will not be a crazy increase to our residents.
No, well, even if it was, let's say, $200 instead of 160.
Yeah.
Who was sending that to?
Andrea and myself.
Yeah, I tend to
No.
agree with Lauren that I think we keep it simple and just choose a number. I mean, I don't think $200 to rent a hall is outrageous, you know?
Yeah, but why don't we come back to you with what we need to do in order to recoup the costs?
Sure, that's fine.
Based on last year's bill.
Okay, so I guess that goes along with if you wanted any adjustments to the long weekend, the weekend rates.
It would apply all across on every
Across the board. The only problem is at this point, I don't think we can do this increase until later, because I have some.
Oh, yeah, it would
That
have
have
to
already
be-
paid.
Oh, yeah.
You can't, you
So
can't.
I can't go back and say, hey, I need more money.
I think if this is after the season's over, we
Okay.
should look at this.
Yeah, even September, like we can do,
Yeah.
as September 1st, we can do.
The question it's $20 a day for trailers. Do we allow trailers to park there?
Okay. Sorry, I was gonna say, the only reason that is in there is I looked at one of the old agreements and it did have that in there as $20 a day, they were allowed if the hall was being rented. But there was no water or sewer or power, it was just to allow them to park in front of the hall while it was being rented.
Somebody
That's where
had,
that came from.
yeah, somebody has family reunion and they want,
Well, in the past, we did have problems with it. And it
Okay.
was maximum 2. But then they started plugging into the building and all the rest of it. It was kind of a mess, and the other thing we got coming is the new office is gonna be there, so the room is gonna get much, much less.
Mhm.
So I don't know, I don't like the idea of having it there. like
Okay.
trailers, and it's a hassle.
Again, in the amount of time that I've been doing this for the last 2 years, I haven't even had a request for it, except for this year, I have a request for one trailer just to park there, no hookups. There's a long rental in June, or July, I should say.
so our request would be, could we honor that one first request?
Yeah.
And then change this agreement when we're doing the updates to no trailers?
Are you guys okay with that?
I am, yeah. I think we can't go back and mess around with people that have already done things or whatever, but I think going forward, I think, I mean, maybe one trailer would be fine, but I just don't want to all of a sudden have 25 trailers parked around there or something on a weekend sort of thing, right? And people, because they're gonna, get drunk at their function or whatever,
I think
agree.
the best thing then is let's honor the one and then let's take it, day use trailer only, no overnight trailers. Then
Agreed.
you don't have any issues.
That's my feeling, yeah.
We're aligned.
Okey doke. Ed, are you okay?
Nope. I'd like to make a motion that we allow trailers in there.
Well, we can take a motion.
And
And I want the vote, and I want this vote recorded.
Vote recorded.
Okay.
And how many?
Well, I would say a maximum of even 8 trailers. I'm not saying 20 trailers or 25 like you guys are predicting. You're kind of blowing it out of proportion here, but like the girls say, you have a family reunion there. That's why you're renting it out. That's why they come. They bring their trailers for the weekend. I totally disagree with your thoughts on not allowing trailers in there. Just because we've got our new MR going up in there and it's taking up room, That's not their fault. That building shouldn't have been put in that place to take up that room to begin with. It's our responsibility to allow like this to go on. And as far as I'm concerned, we should have and allow trailers to go in on that parking lot. Every other village and every other community has allowed trailers to go in there into their spots.
I don't think that's quite true, Ed, but in rural areas. So the question has been called. So up to 28 trailers.
I don't know, we need a motion. I need you a motion, Ed, please.
Yep.
Okay.
I'd like to make
what's your
that a motion. I'd like to make that a motion that we allow up to 8 trailers. That's per booking.
No hookups though, right?
What part? I missed that.
Hookups, no hookups.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Can you say?
No hookups.
You need to clarify hookups or no hookups, and you need to clarify for overnight
We don't-
stay.
No, I'm not saying hookups. We got no place to hook them up. I'm just talking about having them on site.
To allow 8 trailers per site, no hookups.
For what site?
To allow 8 trailers on site.
With no hookups. Okay, moved by Councillor Watt to move. To allow up to 8 trailers on site with no hookups.
On site at 8 Front Street Hall.
Okay,
You have to have a
on
location.
site at number 8 Front Street. Municipal, multiplex.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Are you adding with hall rental? Like they have to rent the hall in order to be allowed to do that?
For the weekend.
To be allowed to do that, it's with the hall rental, right?
That's correct.
There you go.
And,
We'll get there.
yeah. Fill out page.
With the hall rental.
With a hall.
Can I ask one more question? There are signs in the parking lot that say no overnight parking. That is just applicable to one area of the parking lot. I don't know if that is something that you'll need to consider.
Well, it goes.
I think you can leave it.
It goes against the land use bylaw and the community standards as well, so.
Yeah.
We'll take a
So I'm gonna read it.
reading, yeah.
Yeah, so moved by Councillor Todd to allow up to 8 trailers on site with no hookups at number 8 Front Street, White Sands Multiplex Building with a hall rental.
Okay, all in favor?
Yep.
Opposed?
Yes, opposed.
Yeah.
Okay. It's formatted later. And then. There's. And.
Okay, so damage,
So motion not carried, right?
Correct.
so the damage to part deposit, I see that, like, that's going up, and I think that's a fantastic idea. I mean, I was just wondering on the way to town, how do you collect it in the check?
Check usually.
It also, I've been a little lenient depending on who it is, somebody that's rented it every year. I know who they are,
Yeah,
if,
so,
but as a rule, it's collected, held, not cashed, held. As soon as they pay for their hall rental, which usually occurs right after, they e-transfer money, I get my keys back and I give them their check back.
okay, so all I wondered was maybe a stupid question, but they can easily say from the bank if they don't allow that check to go through.
They could.
That can happen with anything.
That can happen with the e-transfer as well. They
Yes.
can say, oh, I didn't get what I deserved.
Okay, so we're just actually just taking the chances, whatever.
Taking chances, but again, because we've always done it with only residents,
Yeah,
we know where they live.
that's your protection. Yeah, okay. Is there anything else in that damage deposit thing that wants to be discussed?
No, I think that's reasonable.
Okay,
Yeah, I think it's okay, yeah.
terms and conditions? Was there anything sticking out?
No, I thought it was fine.
Okay, and then. Oops, sorry.
It's okay. This is all the same.
Yeah, the liquor control board stuff and the, then also the, non-smoking.
Yep.
That happens, the tables and chairs. And that's fairly important, you know, it happened one time without our knowledge. People that took them, I don't know. It was a mess.
And then this is.
Decorations, confetti, candle wax, all food, decorations are to be removed by 8 AM the following morning. Or sooner as required, so if someone else is renting it the next day, you'd have to ask them to get it out of there before.
Right.
Okay. I think all the rest of it, and especially that number 14, does it need, do you need to get the name recorded and the signature for that person or not?
What is,
All renters must have
That's
key
not-
contact.
Yeah, that point. you
Okay,
have in
so-
there.
that's on the next form, yes,
Okay,
that's what I've always had it. So if they're not from the village, but their parents are in the village. I need that information.
okay. I don't know, I think it looks good to me.
And I think ultimately we've had very few problems. I think it's being run very well, and I think it's, I think it's, I think the odds of having problems are pretty low.
Yeah.
Andrea does a wonderful job of overseeing all the rentals.
Yeah, she does a great job. I think it's being run very, very well, and I think it's, I think that's why we have no problems, or very, minimal problems,
Excellent.
Okay,
Okay.
so the next thing was the agreement is with the with White Sand. I didn't see anything. Did you see anything, Ed or Bob?
No, I thought it was fine.
Looks good.
You guys are good.
Yeah, I guess maybe, and it hasn't been a problem for a while, but when the village moves into back in, your office comes into our neighborhood, that if you're using the hall, we need to know about it ahead of time so that we don't do a double booking.
Yeah.
And that,
Okay, continue that monthly communication.
yeah,
Okay. I guess that's
And the board is this agreement was a pass, so we can just sign it ourselves. If council's in agreement that, and everybody's all good, this agreement stands,
Just needs to be signed.
we just gotta sign it.
yeah,
So the
so
current agreement is still. I don't even know what my words are today.
I think
In
probably
effect,
we'll go, like you said, after the season is over, but we can still
We can still sign this.
sign it.
Yes, I would like that you guys do a motion that the current agreement as presented is correct and to proceed with the signatures by the CAO.
well, and we'll vote on the rate change. If we determine there is a need for a rate change, we would do that in maybe August for next year sort of thing, right?
September. Fall.
September.
Yeah, thank you.
So right now in your package is a revised policy for the hall rental based on everything that's been presented here so that we're in line. And then in September, we'll bring it back.
Yeah.
For the next revision.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I did. A resolution.
Any resolution?
Sorry.
did you,
No.
Oh, you'll have to do it.
Yeah.
well, just whatever you said, we'll somehow get it down in wording.
Okay. Motion to agree, motion that the current agreement presented by the Hall Society and the municipality.
Remain in effect as presented.
Remain in effect as presented and have
Until
council and
September
members sign.
1st.
No,
September 1st or September
Could you
30th?
please?
the agreement
Yeah.
stays.
The
Yeah.
agreement stays, it's just the rates.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, the date, we don't need to put a date in there. We'll bring a new thing forward in September for an amendment to it with a rate change.
This is,
Yeah, that one, any of us notice can terminate or change
Yeah.
it or whatever,
Yeah.
so.
okay, all in favor?
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah,
So any other items? There is the roof or ceiling in the kitchen.
Yes, so we had so we have had the hall painted and refreshed. We're not done the work in there yet. There's a maintenance room that we still need, we're changing hardware. We need to clean up the maintenance room. There still is some work in there. I had understood that the roof was fixed, which in my, I guess a bit of an assumption would also mean the ceiling is fixed. Sent the
Oh.
painter there, who's gonna fix the ceiling?
We're getting somebody.
Okay,
The thing is, it was gonna be combined with some other work that we're doing out there with the wheelchair ramp for the new building, whatever, so it won't be right away, but we can get someone out there, it just costs
Sure.
more, because they have to come 3 times or.
just let us know and we will arrange painting over top of it. The ceiling looks terrible, but it's not gonna impact our ability to do what we need to do. So let us know, we will arrange painting after the ceiling is fixed.
Okay, so you paid for the painting already, except
Yeah.
that portion?
No, we paid for all of
paid
it.
for it.
Oh, okay,
It is on a trust and honor that the painter will come back and finish that painting.
okay.
And she went last night to go suss it out, but she said the ceiling's not fixed.
I guess that there was a difference between the roof and the ceiling that wasn't really, but.
Would council
I'll get,
like to have it done ASAP?
yeah,
Painters can.
I think we have to try and get that done as soon as possible. It may be harder to find somebody, but I think, like, maybe. I wish I would have got Smiths, because they were out there working on that cabin on First Street, but they're done. But then Buzz Anderson might take it just as a weekend job and do it when no one's in there. And that's the other thing, is when that's getting done, exercise may have to.
Sure, all you need to do is just talk to Andrea and she'll make sure that anything is canceled that needs to be canceled. We do have weekend rentals, so that might not be the ideal thing.
But it can be done in the afternoon.
Sure.
After exercise, and then.
Yeah.
Right,
It's just a tricky job, because you gotta go back, you gotta put it on, tape it, fill it once, you gotta go back again 3 times to finish it.
Perfect, yeah.
So that's a pain in the ass. If I can get somebody from the village, that would be the best. So that's what I'll try first.
Yeah, just let us know and then we will proceed with the
Okay,
finishing.
I think we need to get it fixed, because I think that people have paid good money to rent the hall, and you want it to look as nice as reasonable, you know?
Yeah,
okay. Is
so
there,
do you wanna do a motion to have Lauren continue with the search for a drywall to repair the
as soon as possible, which is maybe difficult these days, but who knows?
yeah.
and forward all the costs to the municipality?
Agreed that as soon as possible is good, but we can still move forward without the ceiling being painted.
Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Yes,
Is there any other issues from council or from
Yeah.
the Hall Society?
Yeah, we would like to put in a request, so, our cleaning supplies in the hall are old and not accepted, like they just are not working. We would like to put in a request for some budget or some purchasing of some cleaning supplies. A vacuum, having a vacuum to clean those carpets, those brand new carpets would be very valuable. Having new mops, new brooms, some general cleaning supplies would be, I think would help us to keep that hall in better shape. And we would also like to request that the maintenance team, I think it would be cheaper to make it as opposed to buy it. Could they make one of like a thing that could hold brooms and mops? Like a stand that would hold brooms and mops. You can buy them on Amazon, but they come at a couple $100, I think, or $150. It's just something that we can keep all those brooms and mops off the floor and clean and tidy up that maintenance room.
Yeah, it actually should have had a little sink in there, but it was never code them to do that sort of stuff.
Mhm.
But if you get, and I'm all in favor, if you get stuff like if the vacuum is just for the carpet that is in there, it doesn't have to be a Dyson or anything.
No.
Anyway, something, and any other material, just don't. In my opinion, and I've been in that business before too, don't get this cheap crap. Spend some money.
Yeah.
Like the mop heads, you can get them at Home Hardware and they can order them in, that'll fit that Rubbermaid pail, like that commercial pail, that's fine.
So
But you can get new mop heads.
can we use some budget to do this?
Well, can't it come out of can we do it out of the rentals, the money that they got for the rentals?
Well, that would be one way of.
We don't have any money right now. Well,
on renovations.
That's right, yeah.
What about the
We will.
Prince Karen going in?
This weekend, so we will, after this weekend, we will have $500.
okay, start.
Usually through the maintenance stuff like the paper, toilet paper and cleaning
Just
supplies and
charged.
stuff is usually just charged. We send her to
We
Bounty
take her down to, we also have like Home Hardware,
and Home Hardware.
we charge it to there.
So what we could do is if you guys could provide us a list
Yeah,
and maybe the item number, if it's something
Sure.
specific.
yeah,
And then we can just proceed with getting that order and putting it through as maintenance supplies in cultural.
Like the
Perfect.
mop heads, they just fit through and then you screw that thing down,
Yeah.
but there's different sizes.
yeah, we'll make sure.
Yeah, we'll go in and take a look at what's there and then just
Yeah.
get the replacement heads as opposed to.
Yeah, and then this way we can track what we've replaced.
So
Okay.
I guess the easiest thing would be then, if it's charged, it's just gonna go against on our line for the hall anyway.
On the whole, cultural,
Yeah,
it'll be mixed in with everything as maintenance.
So we just need a.
Need a motion.
You need
Motion,
a motion, yes.
okay, to spend up to.
Uh,
So,
How about a
A
motion?
1,000 is lots.
How about a motion to have the Hall Society provide us a list, and if it's under $1,000, proceed.
That is lovely. Okay, thank you.
and then that mop holder thing,
Yeah,
I think I would just go and order a good one.
so then if it's coming under your budget, we'll send a Amazon link or whatever.
Yes, anything like
Okay.
that.
Actually,
Or where does
Samantha-
this home?
Home Hardware and like Bounty
Bounty?
on site, which is.
If they have.
Yeah.
well, if it's Amazon, I can order it on Amazon.
So can we,
So can we order it and then we can make sure it's coded to the right area.
We'll look at those three.
Staples,
then.
Staples too, if you can look into that, because we get
Yes.
discounts.
Counts there.
Perfect.
But yeah, we'll just put it under the cultural maintenance so that it covers, it's under mixed in with everything.
Excellent. Okay, do we need to do anything? I have a meeting at noon.
No,
Okay, so do we, there's a no motion, we can just move forward with that.
Well, there,
We'll make the resolution.
to provide a list of cleaning supplies to administration. That will not exceed $1,000.
And proceed.
And if it's more, like with.
If it's over 1,000, then I'll have to bring it back to council. That's all.
Okay, I'll make that motion. All in favor?
Yes,
Ed?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Now, does that motion include maintenance doing the mop stands and whatever they need?
We'll investigate what's the best option through this. It'll either be maintenance can build it, I don't know, I will double check, or we will order.
Well, I highly recommend that you get it ordered, because if you rely on our maintenance crew, you might as well put it on next year's budget.
We've got approval to get what they're requesting.
Excellent,
Okay.
thank you. We push through because I do have a meeting at noon.
Okay.
One of the things that we, a few years ago, the Hall Society put $5,000 aside that we have just not spent to give to the village to help with the structure at Jack's Pond. We feel that that money has been sitting in our bank account for too long. We don't think that anything from a Jack's Pond perspective is going to move forward, and we would like to talk about the fact that we would like to pull that money back into our budget.
Well, that's completely up to you guys.
We had committed it to you, so in good faith, we just wanted to make
We
sure.
want it
Yeah.
clear
You can just
first.
do a resolution at your meeting or whatever.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect,
There's no current plans in the capital.
thank you
Right.
very much. Okay, one of the things we just sort of again as an advisement, we as the Hall Society are looking for ways to increase our relationships with our neighbors in the South Shore, Roshan Sands, and anybody else. We don't have firm plans yet, but we're looking at possibly joint parties or joint things just to continue to enhance that relationship. So wanted to make sure that everybody,
There's absolutely, in my opinion, nothing wrong with that. Like the girls from Roshan come and play bridge on Mondays. And they come over, Zagetti's come to the exercise and they're in the county, and absolutely.
excellent, yeah, we think it's valuable, not all things, but certainly some things.
Yeah. You know what, I gotta say too, that you guys, when you're renting the hall. You don't charge for the exercise, you don't charge for the cards, you don't charge for whatever else. And other places, then. Like Roshan Sands, if they have something that is gonna be in there is a charge for some of it.
Our theory,
It's a good thing.
yeah, our theory is always if your event is open and to the whole village. That is a village service, and we do not charge. If your party is a closed party where you're not inviting everybody, then it's a rental.
Yeah.
Well, the only thing we've investigated aside from that is that if somebody is putting on an event that they're collecting money for,
Right,
then we will start charging a meeting rate for that, so that they do have to pay something because they're making money off our.
Yeah.
Even though it's open to everybody, but that's the only, aside from that, if, other than that, exercise, anything that's open to everybody in the community at any time. There's no charge, as far as we're concerned.
Okay. Next, take it or leave it shed, and the removal of bigger items, and just again, want to just talk about the process of this and make sure that everything is good, because our volunteers are not in a place to move these items out.
Yeah, we've been taking care of it,
Thank you.
and there's, yeah.
And do you feel the process works? Like, my assumption is Aaron sees and does when he can fit it into his schedule.
That's what we've been proceeding with, and we'll continue that way.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much for that. And then the last thing is at one time, and we may need to revisit this one time, but at one time there was some talk maybe about exploring signage coming into our village, better signage coming into our village, like beautiful welcoming signs. I don't know if there's grants available, I don't know, but I would think that the Hull Society or members of the Hull Society would be so open to helping with anything that we could do to have welcoming signs into our community.
Yeah, and
That
I
was
think
brought up
that's
as,
a good idea, and also the one that's at the truck fill was made by Valhalla and Red Hill. But that kind of a sign, like that thing in the day when it was, like, we're talking thousands. But the thing is also, I was looking at it, it may be able to be taken off and just refinished. Because it's always facing south.
Right.
So that one may be able to be fixed, but whatever you come up with, I don't think that, like, Ed, you brought that up a few meetings ago too. About signage.
I was kind of
for the-
wondering where that went.
the one going into the municipality off the county road, I have looked at that and we are looking at trying to figure out the pricing to replace it with a proper metal sign with distance, and then I have to go to the county to get permission to install it in the ditch right away.
And the ones that Tamara's talking about would be within the village boundary, or at the boundary, right?
Yeah, you look at some of the other neighboring communities, boy, they have some beautiful signs as we come into the community.
Yeah, if you were to investigate it and then get back to us.
Maybe take that,
Could we get some parameters?
Well,
that would be
I don't know a
good.
hell of a lot about prices of signs.
Okay, we'll put forward some options and then it's a starting place.
Yes,
Okay,
Just forewarn them, little ones that are wood for the street sign.
we're not gonna think about those.
Cause they're $350 each now.
Yeah, we'll focus on big.
Okay. Thank you. You're gonna be late?
Anything else? Any questions? Other questions for Paul?
No.
No, we just want to thank you guys for what you do for our community.
Well, thank you for the thank you.
Okay, well, thanks very much for dropping by and. Sorry about the wait.
No worries. Good, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
all right.
Have a good day, I thank you.
Remember 11:43. Yeah, 11:47. Interesting, Sarah.
Yeah.
It's all you can
And
email.
I was there to watch how you email her.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I just thought of it. Okay. Yeah, she should go to sleep.
There's Sarah. Sarah's in.
Hi, Sarah.
Hello.
Melissa will be right back with us. You don't have a lunch date, do you?
Nope.
Okay.
Okay, so it's that.
Yes, Sarah's good.
Okay, so thanks Sarah for the email. So back in 2023. to the Third Street Pond area, including 16,940 of provisional survey and environmental, came to a cost estimate of 26,645. So where are we at? I guess we need direction from council, so we know what we're doing.
Well, I think Bob missed that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I just ran out. Back.
So Sarah sent me what was sent on 2023 in 2023. And to review that lot 12 and Third Street Pond area was the 26,645, and that was provisional survey and environmental included.
So
And I know,
that's not good enough to go ahead with what we need to do? Like we need to do a full other assessment. Is that what we have to do?
No, we could do it underneath that. Is that the question?
I'm unclear. Can you re-ask the question, Bob? I kind of missed it.
So we've had an assessment done already.
No.
Oh, so can you explain what was done? This was just a review?
No, so we had an allotment for this if it was requested. So we haven't done it, but we had it as provisional if required.
So we've already approved it.
That was approved, when Dean was here. Go back on those, and then, yeah, it was with Dean, right, Sarah?
Yep.
Yeah. But then, Melissa went back and you guys reviewed that, and then the minutes were actually changed from that meeting to not be approved. But we can't go back on, YouTube, because that one didn't record. That meeting didn't record.
Okay, let's go back to, what was the resolution that Dean had sent you hadn't matched?
The Dean had sent me?
Yes.
I
And that
don't
was
know.
approved by council.
He sent me a resolution. He asked for the proposals. And then you were back and, okay, hold on. Let me go through my email. Just a sec. I had a few, this one.
Resolutions, I know what that is.
Because I know we were approved to proceed with the stormwater management report,
Yeah,
but under that was if you wanted to proceed later with that. So that was in the provisional allotment. We just haven't used it because we weren't yet told to proceed with it. Does that make sense? Does that ring a bell?
yes.
I'm trying to see if I can find an email as well.
Yeah, I think it was like maybe last June was the meeting, last spring,
Just want to.
where it was council approved the wetland assessment. I think it was actually Ed that made the motion. And then, like I said, this February or January, those minutes were amended.
Yeah, I had notice to proceed with the stormwater management plan and lot 12, and then he left shortly after that. And we discussed proceeding with the stormwater management plan for now, but still leaving that pond 3 on the back burner after we had done, because we needed to do the overall stormwater management plan first.
Yep.
So now council just needs to approve whether they want to proceed with the second part.
Well, I think we kind of have to, don't we?
It was already approved once. Yeah.
Well, I'm just sort of thinking like, I mean, it's our responsibility, and it's going to seriously adversely affect a homeowner.
Mhm.
And the total, Sarah, the total price of that was 20, what did you say? 26?
Yeah, so in 2023, it was 26, and it included 2 days of topographical survey, review of adequate outlet options, discussion with Alberta Environment and Parks, a field assessment, if anyone wanted to do the retaining wall, but again, some of this was dependent upon what the stormwater management plan revealed. And establishing a design and construction scope, if the village, depending what the village was looking at. This one just said, i.e., is the village looking to construct an adequate outlet for the wetland or retaining wall reconstruction? Like, it's not the price for the full, like a full big pond design. It's a price for getting the wetland assessment done, doing some survey. But it would cover off, yeah. We can do as much or as little of that as you want at this time, but it would be good to get the wetland assessment proceeding. And probably the survey if it's dry right now.
Well, I think we do the minimum necessary to help Stephanie.
Okay.
I guess my other comment would be, Bob, what would it cost to include pond 3 in that, or is any of pond 3 in that as well?
No.
No.
I guess the minimum, and we can look at pond 3 later.
Yeah, I think so. I think this is the imminent problem here, right?
Yeah. I think your only savings, if you decide to look at pond 3 right now, would be if the environmental consultant needs to do a field assessment, they would do the 2-in-1 trip. But like I said, if they talk to Alberta Environment for the work that's proposed right now, they might be able to do it as just desktop submissions.
Okay, so I guess
So it's a motion, you're looking for a motion to proceed on what's the items to be completed, Sarah?
The wetland assessment for pond 4 and preliminary survey of pond 4.
And preliminaries. And that should help for Stephanie's work to do?
Yeah.
And then we can carry on with the other part that we talked about to get it set up to vote on for the next meeting or the next, as soon as possible.
Could it be, well, you'd have to do a resolution, this is a cost, and we're just proceeding with it because it was as on the back burner. You want to proceed and get this completed.
Yes.
Okay. So would be a motion to approve Aptus Engineering proceeding with the wetland assessment and preliminary survey of pond 4 as part of the existing drainage and stormwater management review. Would that be about correct, Sarah?
Yes.
Okay.
And is that, Sarah, will that be done before the next council meeting?
I would hope so. It'll all depend on the schedule of the environmental consultant, which is why I want to get it to them. They have a very short window that they're allowed to do assessments. Alberta Environment allows it between like May and September.
Okay.
For field
so
assessment.
We got 5
I got a
weeks till our next meeting. Yes, Ed?
July
Uh,
17th.
Sarah, was that pond not surveyed last year? Do we just need to get it reflagged and not a full blown survey?
No, we haven't surveyed in detail,
The pond itself.
hardly anything. Yeah, the ponds haven't been surveyed in detail. The report was used LiDAR.
So Lauren, who put the stakes out in the middle of the slough then? Remember?
That was done by Hunter,
Hunter, and that was just road right of ways.
Oh, that might have just been the
Okay.
legal survey, not a topographical survey.
Okay, yeah, no, that's quite, that answers my question.
okay, so we got the question.
So, read back the group or the motion.
Yeah,
Okay. Moved by Counselor to approve that Aptus Engineering to proceed on wetland assessment for pond 4 and preliminary survey of pond 4.
should you have where the money's gonna come out of, or?
We'll just have to, we're gonna attach it as part of the finish, can we attach it as the finishing touch to the stormwater management plan?
Oh,
Sarah?
yeah, I have no issue with that.
Okay, so we're gonna.
If that works on your end.
Yes,
Stormwater and attach it to the stormwater.
it's part of the
Management.
stormwater management plan grant money.
Yeah.
That's the best I could come up with.
It's good thinking.
Okay,
I'm trying to
That's
think
good.
fast.
I think that's good.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
okay.
I agree with it.
All in
Yeah.
favor? Okay,
Oh, can we do an amendment to that?
Sorry.
what do you,
The amendment is
to add it on to the,
to bring back to the next council meeting if possible.
And bring back to the next regular council meeting on July 17th. 2024.
If not, I would, but there, set the date.
So by
Your
the,
revote?
oh, sorry.
Just do motion to accept the amendment.
all in favor of that little revision there?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay. Pass.
So by July 17th meeting, hopefully that's done. Then you're gonna find out if that's, because what we're going for is the fill of 100 and whatever it was, 25
25.
square meters.
Mhm.
If we fill that, then you're gonna make like check to see where, like what the responsibility is after that for the whole, like. I wanna know if it ends, I wanna know if it ends after we fill it.
So once, I guess, Sarah, we have to do that report first. Then I guess the question we will ask ourselves is if the homeowner proceeds to fill that in, that area they want. Then anything else would be on the municipality, we'd have that discussion, right?
Yeah, we can have that discussion whenever you would like. It's kind of
Okay.
independent of the wetland assessment. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good, we'll have that, we'll work on that.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks again, Sarah, for coming
Thanks,
back.
Sarah.
No problem. All right, have a good day, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh. We do to be doing this stuff anyway.
Yeah. Okay,
Can we take a short
Break.
recess here,
yeah,
please and thank you?
short recess. Please.
Recess?
Uh,
Did you get that storm last night?
we're getting some rain right now up here.
Are you up at, you're in Slave Lake right now? Or?
Yeah,
I would just like to remind you that you're still live streaming.
Yeah, that's fine. No, I just was
Okay.
wondering about There was supposed to be a storm at Buffalo Lake last night, wasn't there?
Yeah, just wind. There was no rain, hardly any.
That's really nice and boundaries. Yeah. Sorry. I am going to make it through. Going home.
Okay, so bylaws and policies,
Reconvene the meeting.
reconvene, yeah.
We don't have, Bob. You know, Bob here.
Oh.
So you'll have to wait.
Okay, Bob's back, so we'll
Reconvene the meeting.
reconvene. Can you hear Bob?
Yes, good.
Okay, Ed?
Yeah, I can hear.
Okay, so bylaws and policies, amendment of the code of conduct. So what happened was we had the wrong code of conduct on the website, so
No, both were, or that.
Well, it was the wrong,
the new,
The old one.
the old one was on there, not the new one, so.
but the new one didn't repeal the old one.
Yeah, so actually we had two, so we gotta get rid of the 2022.
No, you're getting rid of the 16718. So as what's laid out in your package there is this is a revised. It's a bylaw to revise the council code of conduct bylaw of 19122. To add in a section of 18, which is repeal. And 18.81 Summer Village of White Sands bylaw number 16718, and all amendments thereto are repealed. So that now brings it to the second point. that the intent of council was to repeal the council code of conduct bylaw of 16718 with the council code of conduct bylaw 19122 as part of the 2021 Municipal Accountability Program report and the March 3rd, 2022 response action plan to bring the municipality into compliance with the Municipal Government Act map review. So bylaw 19122, council code of conduct bylaw received all 3 readings on June 8th, 2022. That shows that the municipal council for the Summer Village of White Sands intended to repeal and replace the entire code of conduct bylaw 16718. So this bylaw 19122 is hereby revised, and the repealing provision means that any conduct related event occurring after June 8th, 2022 would be covered under this bylaw. This sets it now that that bylaw repealed the old one.
And we had meant to do it, but it never got done, basically, and
Well, I had legal do a review and that was our issue. And this was the simplest format to fix the bylaw so that that 19122 is the current bylaw. So I would need 3 readings because this is just revising to make sure we've repealed that item.
3 readings, 4 motions.
Yeah,
okay.
I wasn't on council at the time. So should I be abstaining from this?
no,
I don't think,
no, this bylaw is the one that you want to stick with as the current bylaw. All you're saying is, let's clean up the confusion here. This is the proper bylaw that was passed and you want to continue moving forward.
Okay.
Do we need better explanation what this bylaw is all about?
The code of conduct bylaw? No, this is just to explain, okay, so your code of conduct bylaw is your separate bylaw. This is to make sure that it's clear that the prior bylaw should have been repealed in that bylaw, but it wasn't. So we're just adding this section, so it brings that bylaw current. And this is the legal way of doing it. It's just
Oh,
it has to be revised.
okay.
yeah, we never legally got rid of the old one. But we had 2.
Had kind of a bit of a conflict, but your intention, this is saying your intention was at that time you were doing it.
Yeah, and that was partly because remember we got that review from Municipal Affairs.
Yes.
And that was part of their conditions that we had to do at the time.
Yes, that current bylaw 16718 was not in compliance with the Municipal Government Act map review.
Yeah. So first reading,
Well, put their name on it.
I'll put it. All in favor?
Okay,
First
yes,
of all, I guess, sorry, do you completely understand what happened here? Because it is so. It's a big deal. And Melissa got it right from the attorney, so it's just how we have to fix the problem.
so basically you just to clarify, you made a new code of conduct bylaw and you didn't take out the old one, so we're basically voting on taking out the old one.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, getting rid of it.
Okay, that's fine, so yeah,
Okay, all in favor? First
Yes.
reading.
Yeah,
Okay,
Who wants to do 2nd reading?
so we need a motion for second.
I'll do that,
yeah.
or either one.
I'm going with Huff because he was first. Unanimously agreed to proceed a third reading of the amended bylaw 19122. Who wants to do that one?
I'll do that.
Okay.
All in favor?
Yeah,
For third.
Yes.
reading?
Oh, yeah, and then 3rd and final reading.
So we need someone to motion third and final reading. That last one was just saying we could go to third.
Yeah,
Same.
I'll do the last one, yes.
Right.
All in favor?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Thank you. So the next one was the multi-purpose rental, which we've,
So the multi-purpose policy, all I did was I took what your old one was, which was a bit outdated, didn't quite have all the numbers correct, so I've just. Put everything that they provided and updated this policy, so I'm just asking you guys to do a resolution to approve the revised policy.
yeah. And then there will be some price changes or whatever,
And we'll bring it back in the fall
yeah,
for re-review.
okay.
So it's just one reading, right?
Yes.
Let's put their name on it.
Oh. Well, I will.
Okay.
and all agree?
All in favor?
Yes?
yeah.
Okay, the business for council reports. Ed, did you have anything from,
No, I didn't have anything this time, Warren.
okay, thank you.
No, the only thing I had was to take it or leave it. She had, stuff getting left outside. It seems like it's a constant problem, but Tamara already talked about it, so.
Okay,
How about, as I brought up there, I think we'll just continue and reassess that also. In the fall as part of your budget deliberations, you guys can talk about that, how's that?
Yeah, that's fine. It's just always gonna be an ongoing problem, I think, you know?
okay. And then I had some questions put to me about having more bank information in the agenda, and I don't know whether but the question was about the investments and what the,
The one sheet says it all.
yeah.
One sheet has it all.
Yeah.
And then
It's not the same.
bank statements, well, we don't put any of that in.
No,
Yeah.
bank statements are part of your business part that, no, we give everything in the public there with the bank rec, which shows your investments and shows the bank account stability and what
Yeah,
goes on.
so I think that page that's in there already is suffice for the investments.
Like this month, I don't have May's
We don't
bank
have
rec
it.
done
Yeah.
because that TD notification has thrown me just a little bit, so
Okay,
it wasn't ready for this meeting yet.
right,
But normally you get a monthly bank rec, yes.
yeah. And then there was a question on whether we were gonna do the dust control, and I said no, because there's still a product there. And this weather, I'm telling you, it's if we did get some substantial rain, I guess we could grade it and then it would be better, but our weather that stuff's just like a rock, and
Yeah, we're doing what we can
we
and,
can't do anything.
yeah, we were, been having discussions. In regards to that is we are assessing it as we go to see what's the best approach. If we're going to regrade that main road again, we have to remove all the speed bumps and get it prepped and ready, but we need moisture because if we don't have the moisture on there, it doesn't come up.
Yeah.
And then any further dust control, I think we need to assess that in the applications throughout the village and where we want to take another look at for the next year. It's just, everything's so off and the weather's a bit.
Yeah, it really is weather depending. So Aaron, how many dock licenses is 35 about the total?
As of yesterday, I have 39.
39 as of yesterday?
Yeah, not all are approved and got a letter, because I'm still missing information. I think there's like 5 that are missing on.
Okay, and then last year we had about 69 or,
60 or early 70s, I would have to look,
yeah, it doesn't matter. So we're about half
but that's because of lake water.
because of the lake water, and the launch over at Russian Sands is open now. but I think it's really, it's dicey over there too. But at least the ridge behind the pads is, they removed it. And Pelican Point is open?
Yeah, they did the same thing,
Yeah,
but they did it, residents did it.
yeah. And then also, they put a lottery draw, and the marina up at Pelican is renting out 15 stalls. They got 15 stalls that can be used, so. Okay, so we had a question about the land use bylaw and sheds on a vacant lot or lot with an RV, something without a cabin or a house on it, about putting a shed on. So we did there was the land use bylaw kind of contradicts itself with the definition as well as the section inside that says what you can do without a development permit, and what you can do without a development permit is put a shed up to 144 square feet, so 12 by 12 shed on a lot that has an RV or an empty lot that someone comes and camps there for 30 days and leaves. The second piece to that is if it's over 100 square feet, then you have to get a provincial building permit for it. Or else have an accredited person like UFA dump one on there and they have theirs are approved that way. So it was really confusing. So I did a tour of the village, and it's so we have lots that don't have any cabins or houses on them. There's 65 lots that have a total of 102 sheds. So obviously, we got to clean up the land use bylaw on that so that someone with a RV can have a shed up to 144 square feet.
Right, but it's one.
Yeah, one shed. So that'll be going forward.
Can I just clarify for a minute, if it's over 100 square feet, you need safety codes essentially, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, and then just for information that that floaty incident that Cam Russell was talking about was really unfortunate, but no one was hurt, but it was unfortunate that private folks had to do the rescue, so I don't know what's going on. I haven't any more information other than the decision not to launch the ones that we have for rescue, or the town has, wasn't granted somehow. I don't know. Anyway, just for your information. So that's all I got. And then there's Melissa's report.
Did Counselor Huff have anything to report?
Oh, yeah, I asked Bob.
Take the shed.
No, no, I don't.
I'm not thinking. Okay, I provided a written report. Some additions would be, I've received 3 complaints. All have been addressed to the best of our ability and resources. Others letters are being sent out today.
You guys jumped to motion with the, accept the submitted
Oh,
terms
sorry.
Okay, we have to make a motion to accept the reports from council
as presented.
as presented.
I'll make that motion.
All in favor? Yeah.
Thank you. Now, Melissa.
Okay, and then I have 3 warning notice letters to be sent out. In regards to some land use bylaw infractions. One is RV structures are not allowed to have roof structures over recreational vehicles, and no covered decks are allowed, so that will be dealt with. Also, we've got a couple of issues of landscaping topographical reconstruction, retaining walls or site grading shall be confined to the property and shall not encroach onto any adjoining property, including road right of ways. So we've had a situation of on municipal reserve, so we're just gonna send out some notices for rectification on that. And other than that, I provided an extensive report here. We had an incident with the grass cutting. I don't know what it was, but it got caught around the mower. And so it was in the ditch right away. So that took a bit of time. Other than that, is there anything else? I think you brought up about the docks.
Yeah, a couple of quick questions I have. One is, so we've re-signed with this IJD. Did their
Yes.
fees go up significantly, or is it pretty much the same as it was, or did their fees go up a lot?
It's pretty well the same as it was. It always has been a split of the municipality will receive 35% of the cost. Or 35% of the funds from the building permits and 65 goes to them.
But
We're doing
the
work.
costs, their fees they haven't gone up a crazy amount or whatever, because I don't know what the old fees were and stuff. We've got a list of the new fees or whatever. The old fees they're not significantly different from the old fees.
No, they've had to bring some things into compliance with some new regulation stuff, but that's about it.
Okay. Okay. The other question is, so this talking about making changes to the wording of the land use bylaw, is that what Lauren was talking about there, or is there other stuff that we're talking about in the land use bylaw?
No, that was what Lauren was
There
talking
was,
about.
and then there was some stuff that Melissa had, or that Leanne has, just to clean it up. I don't think there's any two major things, but it's gonna come back to council.
Okay.
Yeah, everything will be brought back to you guys. It's basically more cleanup and getting a clearer understanding. Like there's some things that weren't quite clear. Is it an or is it an and? So we just wanted to get that clarity so that we can apply it better. The accessory buildings was a big one that we're running into. Because it was like, no, you can't, because you don't have a dwelling unit based on the definition. But you can do one that's under this 144 without a development permit. But if it's over 100 square feet, you still need a permit through building codes. So, and it's one accessory, but yet if you have a dwelling unit, you can have 3. So we just wanted to make sure we got the clarity and get it clearly written there so that when we bring this back for you guys with the recommendations, it'll be a better understanding.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
I guess the other thing that was confusing, was the coverage per property
Yeah.
with the larger acreages, like the half acres and everything.
Shed and dwelling units,
Yeah.
there's options there that are coming back to you guys for discussion, so you can review if you want to make any changes and what your recommendations would be.
And then the thing about that is if you do the mathematics on it, it sometimes is screwy, so, but apparently Leanne's gonna bring some stuff back, so that'll clean that up as well.
Okay.
Melissa, on this minor residential improvements, so it says 24 on the lot on decks.
Yeah, more than 24 inches above grade. I thought it was 2 feet.
Yeah, and
Leanne said
Leanne
3.
said 3 feet,
So
but
that's why we're getting clarity on that. Decks is a big another one. We're gonna get the definitions a bit more clear and how decks work. The other thing that we were adding in was outhouses in regards to our septic. So we're gonna make sure we have better definitions and a clearer understanding of the permits there required.
and some of that came from if someone puts in the holding tank, they have to when they're putting an RV on there. Some people get the ones from Bashaw Concrete, they can build an outhouse on top of it, because there's a toilet flange and the seat that comes with the top. And also feed the trailer sewage into it. But with the land use bylaw, it said you can only have one. She's gonna work it out so you can have an outhouse as well as a shed, if you have an RV.
Because at this point in time, we would classify it together.
Yeah,
It's one or the other, but that's another thing that we wanna clearly identify.
I mean, there's not too many of it, but some people, that's a real bonus for them to have an outhouse on top of their tank. So then everybody doesn't trade through their trailer. And that 24-inch above ground with decks, we'll get that figured out. But I guess the rest of it is,
Any other questions on my report?
No, that's good.
No, I'm
you
good.
need a motion to accept Melissa's report
As presented?
as presented.
Yeah, I'll make it.
Thank you.
I'm in favor.
Thank you.
Excuse me, sorry.
Okay, so
Reports.
financials.
Yeah, so your council revenue and expenditures as of May 31st. You will see that the revenue is sitting at, total revenue is at 929. And our expenses are pretty well aligned for being almost halfway through the year. We're quite under on most of it except for culture and by law enforcement, which is,
The legal of the whole.
yeah.
So that's expected revenue though, right? Because we haven't got that money yet, right?
Which one?
Well, revenue, like we haven't received 900, because I mean, I haven't paid my taxes yet, like, right? So taxes aren't due till,
Right.
that's
Shame on you.
that's expected revenue, right?
Correct, correct. Now that we've got the tax notices out, you're correct. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, now you can see the budget actually, now with the tax notices gone, everything's registering in the system now. And as you can see that we are sitting at transportation costs for total everything, staff and all that, it's only at 33% and we're already halfway through the year. Parks and recreation, we're sitting at about 25% of the budget, so we're still good. We're really good, actually. So. Like I had said, the noted ones was the bylaw enforcement. Unfortunately, that's over. That's, it is what it is. And the culture, that one's starting to get, it's past, it's at 76%, where halfway through the year, it's a bit high, but.
Melissa, Melissa, what put culture so high? What were the
Because
expenses
we
in
are
culture?
now. Because we are now allocating the proper things into culture, so if there's something we're doing specifically hall or the give and take building, we're putting wages towards those specific items that we're taking care of in that area. That's why. We need to start tracking better, because then it's easier to start looking at the budgets and what things are affecting the budget better. So it's allocations of time. And then the capital, well, I'm just working on moving everything ahead, so that's a work in progress, so I can't give you too much on that part. The checklisting for council.
I had a couple of quick questions on the checklisting. One is, on the visa, there was truck wash for $56. What, I mean, I know that's not a huge amount of money, but did they have to go get it like a detailing of the truck or what happened on the Visa?
They went to, I have to go back, they washed the vehicle.
I'd have to review that and send you a broken detailed report on that.
It just seems like, I know there was some mucky days, but I mean, I went and cleaned my car and it was like $6 or something like that, you know?
Unless that's an account,
I'm thinking it's.
like an account at the
I-
car wash.
I spent $30.
I don't-
I spent 12 washing mine.
Yeah, it just
Oh.
seemed like a lot. It seemed like a kind of a full detail almost there, you know?
Well, detail of cars, 200
Yeah, I know, it'd
some
be-
bucks.
Yeah, I know, a couple $100. No, I know.
I would have to get a further breakdown and provide it to you guys. At this point, I can do some checking on it, but I don't have a complete answer for you, but I do know with the mud and stuff that we have out there, I spend between, like I said, $12 to $20 to
Oh.
wash my car.
Yeah, no, I know. No, I mean, I had to go to town and do a real spray thing, but, now the other thing is tell us, is that, do we provide cell phones for a lot of people? Is that, there was a
So that's our internet, so that's our internet here.
Okay,
Because we couldn't go into contract, because there's no point to go into contract if we're gonna move out to Lake this year, so it wasn't gonna put us in a 2 or 3 year contract, so of course that's a little higher for internet. And then, the other one is our phone lines. So we
Okay.
pay for 2 phone lines and 1 fax line now.
Yeah,
okay, thank you. That's good. Yeah, no, those are my questions.
yeah. Unfortunately, we took the hire because we didn't want to lock in on a contract and have to, if we had to terminate and couldn't take it with us out there, we would
Well,
have
can't
to pay.
Can't take fiber out there, so.
Right, okay.
Anything else?
No,
So we need a motion for the financials.
You wanna do the first 3, because then you have the 2024 capital budget plan revision.
Okay,
So I don't know if you wanna just do like
Yeah, well-
accept for 10.1 to 10.3.
No, let's do it all and then we'll do a
Okay.
separate motion that we need. I was not paying attention, sorry. It's my fault. So 10.4. Kind of what's been happening after further review. Is that we have that unpaid grant funding for the Kennebec Community Building Fund, which used to be the federal gas tax. Of $105,717. And they're coming down on us, we need to do something quick. And we have to use it. Or we're gonna lose it. So, upon further review and discussion with them, we need to do the Front Street widening. So I am asking to move that project into the 2024. And which I provided you a revised 2024 capital plan budget in the 5-year, which moves the Front Street widening from the 2025 capital project budget to the 2024 capital budget. And proceed with construction for 2024 under the CCBF to receive the remaining unpaid funding balances. If we do this, we will meet our criteria and we won't lose the funding.
Cause nothing else fits.
Nothing else fits and it must be a complete construction through and through. And if we do it now and we get it awarded and if we could get it constructed for September, October, after the busy season, I think it would be the best fit.
Have you got any
And
bids
that's-
for that construction?
Right now, the surveyors are ready to come out and survey it and get it ready for the bid package. And then I'm looking at going to at least 3 local, North Star, Wally's, and Kenmar. Because it would be under the amount that we need for the Northwest Trade thing, so we don't have to go out far. We're gonna try and do it as local as possible.
What about Dwayne? Or Bowman?
I would recommend not at this point in time, Lauren.
Okay,
Right now, I
The
have
three-
three that I
the-
thought of.
the three that Melissa has stated there would be fine with me. They're all good they're all good contractors. So
okay. Sounds good.
So if you guys are okay with, we move ahead, I am looking for a resolution to approve the revised. What I put in there. Sorry. I just think we gotta do this, we don't wanna lose that money, and this is the
But it's
fastest
been
way.
on the books for probably 10 years.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, so to accept all financial reports as presenting, or accept moving the Front Street widening project forward to 2024 and use a CCBF grant.
No, first do the motion to accept all the
Okay.
reports as presented, and then do me a separate resolution.
Okay,
How's that?
alright.
Simple.
So reports as presented, who wants to do that one?
Sure.
Okay,
All in favor for the reports?
Yes,
And then I want a motion that council approves the revised 2024 capital plan budget, which moves the Fred Street widening from the 2025 capital project budget to the 2024 capital budget and proceed with construction for 2024.
I can make that motion.
Yeah, and it's under the CCBF.
All in favor?
Yes,
Okay, good,
Okay.
that's started.
And if you need more projects, I got some in my back pocket.
Please, no more. I'm saying exhausted. But I have the surveying coming out to get that done right away, so we can move on.
So Melissa, on this one here, we looked at on this MSI at the very bottom, that 18,740.
Yeah, I haven't gotten into that one yet. I was more concerned about this Canada Community Building Fund, and we've been
Okay.
having the discussions to get this solved, and that total is the 105. And we do not want to lose that.
Right. So sometime can we look in, like, there's no totals on there, so I don't know whether something was missed.
Yeah, no, I'm continuing on, but it's just I'm trying to get those projects so I can move forward with not losing that grant funding.
Okay. So we got, then that Alterra had also sent us a,
Oh, I attached
and
them.
highlighted in the next sheets there.
Yeah, that's just so you know what's gonna be going on there.
Okay. So, we go to, correspondence. I think everything is pretty well explanatory, except the library membership. I think I had something. Well, just that they used our population as 133. So we're all over the board again, 120, 133, and 174.
I don't have any answers on that.
Whatever.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's correspondence.
so we need a motion to accept the correspondence for information.
yeah,
I'll do that, or Ed will do that.
All in favor? Yeah.
Yes,
Alright, for the in-camera portion that we added on,
I want a motion first.
yeah, go into camera, and then I will send you Google Meets thingy, so I have to do it on the laptop that's connected to the TV, so.
First thing we're gonna do is, need that motion, who's doing that motion?
To the camera.
I'll do that.
At 12:44. Okay, so let me do my thing, it might take me a couple minutes to send you those that invite, just let me make sure everything on here is good before I do it.
So we're going in camera for human resources, section 1819, correct?
Yes.
if I screw up, phone me. Okay, now.
Ed, do you want to log out of Zoom so your Teams works?
Okay, log out of Zoom. What'd I do? Push leave?
Excuse me.
Okay, I see it.
Everybody's in.
Yes, so we're gonna go, yeah,
Okay, I'm in.
Just need Ed.
Ed's still, oh, there he is, getting muted.
Hello.
There we go, all right. So we're coming out of camera,
Motion to come out now.
supposed to come out of camera at 1:15 PM.
I'll make that motion.
Okay,
All in favor?
Yeah. Motion to adjourn?
Yep.
I'll absolutely make that motion.
Yeah.
okay,
Okay, thanks.
thanks.